disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
You just killed a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing.
Lomito!
You got nothing.
I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
All right. Hold on a second. Well, welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. As your good friend, Mr. BDA, flying solo for the moment. We're gonna start calling a couple of people right now. But before we do that, guys, thank you for joining us. A very special pre-fight show. This is a preview show for all of the fights that are gonna be taking place on Saturday. Throughout the day, throughout the evening, throughout the night. 24/7 boxing, everybody. You want punchers, you get punchers. You got slick boxers, loosey boxers, whatever you want to call it. They're all going to be there, and we're going to be there to cover it right now. Previewing some of the fights. So before we get down to the fun, let's get the business out of the way, fellas. You know the drill. If you want to donate with a super chat, you can certainly do so. You can wire a couple of shekels our way. You can also do it by joining the BDA membership program. You get special emojis, badges, the whole shebang, and it really helps us out. But the most important thing, like I always say, is for you to keep on hitting that like button, subscribing if you haven't subscribed already, and to spread the BDA gospel to the uninitiated. All right, that's the most important thing. Don't forget, you can check us out on Spreaker, iTunes, and Spotify, of course. Before we get down to the fun, let me give a shout out to everybody in the chat room real quick here. Who do we got? We've got Don Possum, shout out to Don Possum. Carlos Mendoza, who says respect to Roy Jones and James Stoney and Miguel Cotto for making into the Hall of Fame 2022. Sawyer Maitland, shout out to Sawyer, says hopefully Loma didn't waste too much time in the amateurs and still has something left. Iceman says Lomachenko. Shout out to Trail Bollins. Shout out to Nick Undisputed. Chris, what about me? Virtuoso, Chris, Pikachu Boss, Just Brian, Easy Living, The Quags, 150 Dream Team. Shout out to 150 Dream Team. I got Lobito, aka Gonzalo, in the chat as well. Gypsy Boxing Style says, give me the red pill. Why don't you take both, man? Take the blue pill and the red pill, make it a purple pill. You go to the stars, my friend. You'll go flying, believe me. Shout out to Triple JJJ, says top tier BDA members get a jar of BDA spot. Oh, that's disgusting. Yeah, that people actually do that, man, with those female YouTubers or streamers, whatever they are. Ugh, absolutely halal. I mean, disgusting. All right, let me get a couple of people here. Guys, we're going to be talking about Lomachenko. Commey. Is Lomachenko in line to upstage all the other lightweights who just fought these last couple of weeks? Or is he going to run into a bit of a problem? That's one thing we're going to talk about. So let me call a couple of people and we're going to get started on this. Is Lomachenko being underrated by a lot of people? And has that perception changed now that, what's his name, Lopez lost and it seemed like he was a bit of a fluke? A little bit. We got to give him credit for what he did before and to Lomachenko and all that. I mean, even though Loma appears to have been injured, but we still got to talk about a lot of things. So who's here? Hold on a second. We've got, all right, full house. Fantastic. We got Gonzalo. We got Recognize the Matrix. We got Bucho. We got Jimmy. How you doing, man?
Yo,
How you guys doing?
what up?
What up?
Hey, how's
Yes.
it going, BDA?
It's doing good.
Bucho,
We're doing
everybody.
good over here. Recognize Bucho. Glad you guys are here. Hey, by the way, check out Recognize's stream last night. He was streaming last night, kind of early for him that time. 11:45. That's early for you. And it's a pretty.
There you go.
It's a pretty good show. Very entertaining. So I suggest people check it out. Check
We
it
had
out.
all type of characters on my show.
Indeed.
It's pretty fun.
Triple JJJ made a rare appearance. The only time I've ever heard his voice was on the voice channel on Discord. So
I think that might have been the first time I ever heard his voice. I was shocked a little bit, but go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. But by the way, Triple JJJ, why don't you tell us one more fucking time how hard wrestling is? You stupid motherfucker. He kept saying
He's
that.
right, man.
Wrestling is hard. No, I don't want to hear complaints, man. He was complaining a little bit too much. Like, oh, it's hard. All right, then get out of it, man. Do what I do. Just quit. Quit everything, man. If it's too hard, just quit. What's the problem with that? Quitting's easy, man. Let me tell you. All right, listen. We're here to talk about, man, fellas, a lot of fights, man. A lot of fights. Oh, by the way, we're going to be opening up the phone lines, soon. 30 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe 2 hours. I want to talk about, man, Lomachenko is fighting this week. All right, that's one fight. Then we've got, let me put it up so everybody can see it here. Then we've got, well, what do we have? Why am I wasting time? Vasyl Lomachenko, Commey. Jared Anderson's fighting on the undercard. Xander Zayas is in there as well. Nico Ali Walsh, the white Muhammad Ali. Then you got Nonito Donaire at the same time on Showtime, taking on the very tough Raymart Gaballo. Then before that, over in the UK, you got Conor Benn versus Chris Algieri, who's Jimmy's favorite fighter, I think he said last time. Then we got, at that same time, I believe, or around the same time, Casimero taking on Paul Butler. That should be an entertaining fight for as long as he goes. Sonny Edwards is going to be fighting Jason Mama. I don't know how you say his name. Mama. And in Russia, you've got, geez Louise, Magomed Kubranov taking on Patrick Teixeira, former junior middleweight champion. And then you got Bivol versus Umar Salamov. I got to tell you, I don't know much about Salamov. Haven't seen him fight, but it's a full night of boxing, fellas. Full evening, full night. Let's start with Lomachenko. And Bucho, I think you wanted to say a little something about that.
Yes, sir. All right. So after Lomachenko lost to Teofimo Lopez in a close fight, a lot of people, made it out to be as if this guy should not retire, right? As if he was exposed. Time to go away. Time to let Haney and Tank Davis and Teofimo take over, whatever. But now, what have we seen recently from these guys? I mean, Teofimo lost to Cambosos. It wasn't even supposed to be a close fight. Devin Haney is struggling. He struggled against Linares. He struggled against Jojo.
Yep.
Tank Davis. I mean, come on. This guy was supposed to knock out Cruz. Don't tell me this was supposed to go 12 rounds. I mean, that was a poor performance from Tank Davis. And what I'm gonna say now is that these people are still in denial. That Lomachenko has a chance of becoming an undisputed champion again. I think he can become an undisputed champion. But these guys are still in denial. They don't want to give him credit. They just want him to go away. But guess what? He's not going away.
All
right? Look at his last fight. Did he look like shit in his last fight against a top contender?
He looked like a killer, bro. He looked, like you said, it was when it comes to 135 pounds, that might have been his best performance in terms of opponent, the opponent type and the results. And I'm what I'm hearing a lot also, Bucho? I'm hearing, I hope he doesn't get the Cambosos fight. Why would you hope for the fight not to happen?
I've heard the same thing, dude. and they recognized, to your point too, man. He looked dominating against the guy Lopez struggled with. Struggled with that Japanese kid. And to the point, listen, that kid Isaac Cruz, I mean, props to him. He came in. He's obviously, I mean, most Mexicans are. They're built tough, right? He could take a shot. But I rewatched that fight, like really rewatched it. Holy shit. First I watched Pedraza, and then I went right into that fight and watched, Tank from Pedraza. to see how much slower he is, and like literally, he's gone from a come forward, fast hands, exciting fighter to a prodding, one dimensional, looking for the shot, and slow. I'm using training camps as drunk camps. Or fat camps is showing. I'll tell you right now, he's stepped back so much. That kid has not also cruised, a power puncher, hasn't knocked anybody out or stopped anybody now, only once in 6 fights. And one more thing before I stop. Did you see a picture of those guys' faces after the fight? I've seen dudes jack their faces up worse shaving.
Yeah.
Dude, there's not a mark on their fucking faces, dude.
Yeah.
Were they like pulling their punches? What the fuck? Literally not a mark. The kid had a zit on his forehead that got a little inflamed. I swear to God. All right, go Gonzalo.
Yeah, well, literally, Tank Davis was pulling his punches because he's getting on the back foot. That's robbing away from his power. When you're not stepping in, look. When they say, okay, it's about hitting and not getting hit, what Mayweather was talking about. That's the name of the game. Well, I mean, Tank Davis is not built for that. He would be food for fighters at 140 because his body composition and his God-given abilities, the way he's supposed to fight is put combinations together and come forward. Because if you don't do that, I mean, just imagine a Mike Tyson fighting on the back foot against Vitaly Klitschko. You're robbing away from your natural dimensions. You're stepping away. You're not getting yourself in the distance you need to punch. You're robbing from your power, and you're throwing single shots at a time. He becomes food for fighters at 140. And at 135, he's not setting the world on fire with that style. It's not going to work for him because he's a short guy. Yeah, and Lomachenko, he's got the 5G Wi-Fi now. He's downloading the information faster. He did it against the Japanese kid. Because he took a long time with Teofimo because he probably had a injured shoulder, but now he's doing it quicker. So I expect him to knock out Commey within 7 rounds.
Man, Gonzalo, I like you, man. I like you, and I agree with everything you said. But I'm really hating you right now for downloading the information. You've been listening to too much of the ESPN commentary, man. Stop it right now, or else you're gonna get it, man.
Do you know if he wins? If Lomachenko wins, he puts himself in position to be the number 1 mandatory. I think on the WBO's number 1 mandatory. He's going to be number 1 anyways, but he's going to be, I believe, the mandatory. So yeah, he beats. Look at just his last 2 fights, right? The Japanese kid, then Commey. Who's the last lightweight who's fought that type of competition besides Lopez, we just lost. Like, he just constantly fights the top guys, or at least the better competition, to put himself in position, and he will travel. So when you hear, and he said this past week, he doesn't want to talk about after Commey, but he did then go on to talk about after Commey. He absolutely wants to go to Australia and fight him. And when he says it, unlike these other knuckleheads, he means it.
Well, didn't Jimmy real quick, didn't Espinosa afterward, there's a clip that came out that said he doesn't think Davis versus Kambosos in Australia is a good idea? I think he put a kibosh on the Australia location.
Who did?
Espinosa, I think.
Espinosa.
No, Espinosa meaning
Tank Davis.
What, Steven Espinosa?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, exactly. He put in, because talking Davis out of it. Yeah, Davis won't go to Australia. No fucking way. Yeah, no way. So that's dead right there. Plus, Kambosos right now would beat his ass anyways. No ifs, ands, or buts. And I'm telling you, man, I know I'm a broken record. Steel, sharp, and steel. You can't fight soft touches. It's the mindset. Going into the gym, it's just not the same thing. When you know you're fucking going into a war, you fucking train different than when you go into a fight saying, I wonder what round I'm supposed to knock this fucking chump out at.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Totally different.
You know something? And Jimmy, you're right about obviously the steel, sharp, and steel is a very true statement, because look at Teofimo Lopez. You could say Teofimo Lopez in his last 3 fights, 4 fights now, you could say he fought top competition in his weight class. He fought Nakatani, he fought Richard Commey, he fought Lomachenko, then he fought Kambosos. But he took so long with the Kambosos fight that maybe that hurt him. He was on the right path, don't get me wrong, because he's fighting the top guys top contenders in terms of like Kambosos being a number one contender for one of the belts. So he was following that model, but you saw when you're distracted against guys that were sharp in your steel, maybe it's not gonna happen for you that way. The results are not gonna come out that way. So these guys, you're right. They gotta, like, Lomachenko is in there. You can say what you want about Commey, and I find this fight interesting, even though I expect Lomachenko to win, right? But Loma's putting himself in that position where there is no doubt I beat that guy to put myself in that situation where I can fight for one of the belts. So it's going to be very interesting after the fight what transpires if Lomachenko wins. That's the key point, is if Lomachenko wins, and if he wins, how he wins. Because I can see him, if he dominates Commey, it's going to be a lot. There's going to be a huge push for him to fight Kambosos, and there's going to be a lot of people outside of the boxing ring that don't want that fight to happen for obvious reasons, right?
Right.
Because they feel threatened that Lomachenko wins, he's got all the belts. It's not like he's not going to fight these guys. He's going to. If you're like a number one contender, he's going to fight you.
Well, and he wants, like, that colloquial expression that people throw out nowadays. He wants all that smoke. That's Lomachenko right there. He wants to fight. I mean, look at it. He jumped up against Nakatani straight off the bat after losing to Lopez. Says, give me this guy and I'll show you what I can do. Now, with Commey, people go, well, Lopez already knocked him out in 2 rounds. But, and I've said this before, I said that that Commey fight was a bit of a mirage because, okay, he knocked him out, but that was before things could get started, before they could get... Credit to Lopez. I'm not taking away from the performance, but what I am saying is we didn't see what would have happened if he would have gotten tired in the mid-rounds. Would Commey have stepped it up? What happens if Commey would have connected? Again, we'll never know because Lopez took him out of there, and we got to give him credit. But I think Lomachenko can stand here to have a good performance if he just schools him for the entirety of the fight. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that Vasyl Lomachenko is a better fighter than Commey, but this is like, I thought he was better than Lopez, and I still think he is, but he went in there with an injured shoulder. So anything can happen in boxing. Now, Commey is a strong guy. I was scratching my head the other day and thinking, well, who has Lomachenko fought that's similar to Commey? The first thing that came to my mind was the axe murderer, Nicholas Walters. Then I started watching the fight, right, and I watched that fight, and then I watched Commey's fights. I go, Commey's a strong dude, man, compared to Walter. I mean, I know Walter was a monster, but Commey... Now, of course, Commey's not invincible. Yeah, go ahead.
He used to kill lions. Back in Ghana.
Are you kidding me? What are you talking about?
Yeah, the kid can crack. He can really crack. Well, with his tribe, I guess, the people he comes from, part of becoming a man is they send you out and you kill a lion with a spear. I don't know if they still practice that, but... Yes, I heard the same thing. I know that really did happen. And in fact, big with the Zulu people, that's how they became a man. That's what they had to do.
Somebody should call the ASPCA, man.
We've seen throughout history, there's a lot of boxers that come from Ghana. Actually, it was like not a documentary. Something like that. They were showing where they were fighting and stuff. They're fighting in they don't even have a fucking ring. It's made out of shitty ropes and stuff.
I saw it, Mucho.
Yeah, what was it?
It's next to the beach somewhere in Ghana because obviously there's a coast there. Because when I saw a documentary, and they were talking about what's the guy, the Azuma Nelson.
Yep.
Well, and that's the thing. Now, look, Commey is not invincible. He has a couple of losses on his record. But when the guy, I like what other punchers should do. They should take an example out of this guy's page. They should take a picture of this guy's. He lets his hands go. When he was fighting Marinas, contrary to Rolly Romero, who's inexperienced, he didn't wait and go punch for punch against the Marinas. He said, I'm hit harder, I'm stronger, I'm just going to ragdoll you and see if you can stand it. And Marinas couldn't stand it. He was huffing and puffing 2 rounds before the end because Commey's pressure wore him down. So a little bit the same thing against Shafikov, except Shafikov was the one that tired Commey down the stretch. So Shafikov, smaller, southpaw, very, very active.
That was a good fight, BDA. That was a very good fight, Shafikov and Commey. I enjoyed that fight.
Yeah, it was a good fight. So Lomachenko tires people out. He doesn't run. He doesn't circle around the ring that much. He stands in front of his opponents. He gives them the feints, tries to spin them or turn them around rather. And in between, he's punching them. So I'd like to see what happens if Commey's stamina stands up. If he can't stand up, he's in big trouble. What do you feel?
He's got a good straight right hand, and he's got the build where he's kind of like narrow at the waist and wide at the shoulders, kind of like Emile Griffith. And that's where he gets a lot of like torque when he throws them straight punches.
And you know what else, Gonzalo? He's got a very strong lead left hook, bro. It's very strong. It's like when he throws it, right? It's like to line you up for that overhand, that overhand right that either goes to the body sometimes. It's like straight to the body or to the top. So he does that very good. Obviously, it's going to be a little harder for Lomachenko, who gives angles, to do that to a guy like that. But he still got to be careful for that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, this kid's no soft touch. I just will put that out there. This kid Comey's no soft touch. He's legit, and he fights a lot of good guys. He doesn't duck anybody. And, personal note, I just think he's a super good kid too, man. I saw a lot of personal shit about him. He does a lot for his people and stuff. He's a good guy, so I hope they're paying him well. That's just my side note on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he's been in some good... I can't recall the last time Commey was in a bad fight. Even against Beltran, which was, Beltran was pretty much shot by that point. Yeah. It was still an entertaining fight because Commey goes for it. So it's going to be
Commey leaves himself open. He does leave himself open. You're right, BDA. He does go for it. He's coming in, kind of keeps his chin, a little bit high in the air. But a lot of that has to do with because he's so fucking strong. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it didn't work out for Teofimo, obviously. Mm-hmm. But, he's just a strong dude, a dude that understands that most of the time he goes in that ring, he's a lot stronger than you. So he's just going to try to beat you up. That's the name of the game.
Mm-hmm. And let's not
forget...
Could have
been that he got caught cold against Teofimo. But a lot of people won't understand that.
Exactly, right,
yeah. By the way, that same right hand that Lopez caught him with, I think it was Robert Easter Jr. caught him with the same, buckled his knees with the same right. When both guys go, they both feint to the left and then try to go with the right. That's what both guys did in the Easter fight too. And it's almost the same sequence that we saw against Lopez. So, you're right, man. Commey does leave himself open at certain times. There, sometimes I could dare say he could even be sloppy, but he's still very dangerous, man. By virtue of the fact he's strong. And let's not forget, Lomachenko shouldn't really be at 135.
That's what I was going to say. So he's naturally the smaller guy. I love Lomachenko, but he is getting older. Let's be honest about that. He is getting older. Where there's some wear and tear. There's some obvious wear and tear in his shoulder. He had 2 surgeries on his right hand, his right shoulder. Excuse me. So that's every. Of course, going from his last performance, he looked like a killer, and it looks like he should be able to beat a guy like Commey. He's a heavy favorite and all that. But the fight is intriguing. What if that fight starts going a little harder than Lomachenko expected, and with the natural abilities that Commey has, like being the bigger guy, probably naturally stronger. You don't know how that fight could turn out, man.
Yeah, they're tough decisions you have to make. Like, for example, in his career, because he doesn't have too much time to complain. Like, with the Teofimo, we found out later, but he had the surgery. After that fight, he couldn't get the knockout against, I think it was Pedraza or Campbell. But then now it's like you just got to put up or shut up, and he's in one of those positions where he just got to show up to fight, but you never know what's his real deal.
Some people in the chat saying that he should go back to 130 and fight Shakur Stevenson. I think at this point he should just stay at 135. Fight Commey, and after that, he should fight a champion or a big fight, a Haney, a Tank Davis, or Cambosos. That's it, man. Like you guys are saying, he's running out of time.
It's so. I'm sorry, Jimmy. I hear people say that, right? And I'm like, what's in it for? So then, what's in it for Lomachenko? That's what I'm thinking, right? Like, what? Oh, well, he gets to fight a up and coming fighter. Yeah,
I mean, did he get knocked out at 135? Am I missing something?
Nothing happened to him in 135. He just.
I mean, yes, he's small. He's small for 135. I agree. He's small, but he's competing in like that fight against Teofimo Lopez. It wasn't like he was whooped like these guys are saying. Right? He got whooped or whatever. No, it was a close fight. That deserves a rematch.
Yep.
Deserved a rematch because now Lopez fucked it up. I mean, he shit the bed big time. So we're not going to be able to see that one.
Well, I was going to say too. I don't know if you guys have read up on it at all, but if it comes true, if it's true, the stuff they're saying about Lopez, he might have actually had an excuse for some of his win conditions. They're saying he had a slight tear in his esophagus, and it created air in his outside his lungs in his chest cavity, and it does. People who've had that in car accidents or impacts to the chest. It feels like there's a lot of weight on your chest, and he was complaining about that before the fight, and I guess he was in the hospital intensive care for a few days, so I'm trying to find out more about that. So if that shit all comes to fruition as true, he does have kind of an excuse for feeling tired that night.
Well, Jimmy, but he came out like a thoroughbred, and he got dropped because he came out too aggressively. Then his condition held up to where when he rallied, he dropped the other guy. So, I mean,
he almost got him out of there, too. He almost got him out of there.
All I got to say is I've choked before, and when you can't breathe, you panic. And you may come out like a thoroughbred at the beginning, but when you need to catch your breath and you can't breathe, nobody in this chat board can say anything about what that feels like if you've got a tear in your esophagus because no one's had it. Not being able to breathe appropriately, you can't adjust your heart level. Now, a doctor's come out and been on record saying that this is what happened, this is the diagnosis, and this is so. He did have an injury per se. He did not go in, and he said he's lucky to be alive. Now, whether the doctor's exaggerating or not, I can't say. But
who's his doctor? Dookie Howser.
All right, look it up. I mean, I don't know. I read what the doctor said. So nobody on this board is a medical professional. So
I am. Whoa, Jimmy. Yeah. I mean, Jay. I am. I am a medical.
I recognize voodoo doesn't count, man. Come on, Santeria doesn't count. Come on now.
Hey, listen. I used to sell them the certificates. Okay,
that's true. No, but you know what? Why are we?
Being said, we're talking about Loma. I came in late in this conversation, but I can say this about Loma. He's about to be, after this Commey fight, ranked number 1 in 3 different sanctioning bodies. So there's not a put up or shut up for him. It's the fact that he needs to be factored into this because he held the belts. He was the king. And now he's about to be undisputed or close to undisputed number 1 contender for all belts.
Well, that's why he needs to win. That's what we're trying to say here. He's got to win. Because everyone's talking about how he can upstage all these guys, but he's got to win and he's got to do it in impressive fashion here. Now,
that's another good point, BDA.
I know it's a good point.
So, especially with the good performance, I know, BDA, that you know. But what I'm saying is, especially with these performances in the last 2 weeks from all these guys, you know, the kings, at least 3 out of the 4 kings. These guys didn't look good, right? Like Devin Haney didn't look like a world beater versus JoJo. Tank arguably lost. In my opinion, I thought he lost that fight. But it was, you know, he didn't look impressive. And Teofimo, and obviously Teofimo lost to Cambosos. So this is, you know, his. I'm not saying he has to fucking do extra to outshine them, but he can win the fight in convincing fashion, and set himself like, look at these guys and look at what I just did. You know what I'm saying? And I fought just as good as opponents as they did, if not better. You know?
Exactly. But that's why he needs.
Oh, sorry, B. Diego.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say it was Bellevue Hospital. He was first seen at Bellevue Hospital after the fight, but then he went on to
Bellevue,
a specialist. Yeah, so I just was putting that out there. Okay, BDA.
Isn't Bellevue an insane asylum?
It used to be, yes.
It still is. They still have a mental
ward.
Mental ward facility, but it's one of the best hospitals in America for sure.
Imagine Teofimo Lopez Jr. faked the injury just so he could lead his father in there to the insane asylum. It's like, nah, listen, I'm just gonna check in. I'll leave you here for just a little second. Then he leaves, and Teofimo Lopez can't leave.
Why you doing this to me?
Wait, we're gonna win the rematch. We're gonna win the lightweight championship again. Why you leaving me here, boy? Will you leave me? Oh man. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, go ahead, Gazelle.
BD, one thing that I also just remembered regarding when Tank Davis's performance, when Recognize was talking about that they all regressed. That look what he does now, getting on the back foot, and you know what, like Mayweather, he used to do that, but when Mayweather got on the back foot, I mean, he couldn't really hit that hard, but when he got on the back foot and went back, but then he saw you coming forward, he would come forward to you. So basically, he would strike you like a cobra, and it was a fast, accurate one shot at a time that it's like a sniper rifle.
Mm-hmm.
What Tank Davis is doing, he's getting on the back foot, but then he's straightening out his arm like a flagpole, kind of like giving you a cue that he's lining you up for a shot. And what does he do? He throws an uppercut. So imagine getting on the back foot, going backwards, and then throwing an uppercut. And sticking your arm out. That's signaling that, I'm getting ready to throw a punch. You're seeing what I'm doing. And that's not like a Mayweather when I'm getting on the back foot and I'm hitting you like a sniper, like a type of Linares straight punch that comes out of nowhere. Doing that is not going to get the job done against the elite fighters because they're going to see it coming all day. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a good point. And, all this talk about how Tank Davis schooled Isaac Cruz and all that. Well, I don't consider schooling when you got to be clinching every 5 seconds. I'm sorry. To me, that's not schooling. And he wasn't even jabbing that much either. Most of his shots weren't landing clean. Was that?
He didn't school anything.
Well,
the state commission wrote it right on the score sheet. The state representative has to sign off on the score sheet and wrote encircled close fight with an exclamation point.
Oh,
so you know what I mean? Yeah. So I mean, they even saw it that way. So yeah, the whole schooling fucking narrative is bullshit.
Shout out to Chris K for his contribution to the super chat. Says Loma ducking that Gary Russell Jr. rematch. Facts. Yeah, shout out to Chris K for his contribution. Yeah, he's ducking the guy that wants to fight once a year. Yeah, that's exactly how it works.
They just announced his next fight.
Oh, who's it going to be against?
This week? I don't even remember.
Did they find an Uber driver to fight?
I think it's a mandatory. You guys probably know who it is. I didn't recognize the name, but that don't mean nothing.
Yeah, let me check it out here. Gary Russell Jr. to long layoff against Mark Magsayo. Mark Magsayo.
Wow, Mark. He's good. He's the guy that beat what's his name? Not Cuadras, but what's that Mexican dude? El Pollo. What's his name? Not Cuadras. It's.
Well, I'm gonna check it out, man.
Yeah, that was a good fight about a month ago. I think it was the Tyson Fury undercard.
Okay. Yeah, he's one of these Filipinos. He's 5'6", so he's probably got big ass calves. He's only 26, so they have Ceja. Yeah, yeah. That's the guy that fighted That was a fight. I forgot about that fight. Yeah, that was an entertaining fight. Okay, so
that was a good fight.
Yeah,
he's a good fighter, that Filipino dude.
Yeah, we'll see what, and especially now that Gary Russell Jr. is looking a little bit more, how shall I say, shaky. His stamina didn't look all that great in the past fight. So okay, yeah, this is a good fight, but still, I mean, one time a year, when this could have been one of his fights during 1 year, amongst maybe 3 or 4. But I mean, hey, to expect Gary Russell Jr. to fight more than once a year right now is like expecting hell to freeze over. It's just not going to happen. So
he's the longest reigning champion in boxing. He's had his belt going on 7 years. He's right now, as of now, almost 7 years. He's defended it 6 times.
Well, we'll see what happens with him. Now, as it pertains to, by the way, Lopez, I don't want to hear about his excuses. Nobody wants to hear about Lomachenko's excuse. We shouldn't hear about Lopez's excuse. He had a torn esophagus, torn vagina, whatever. Look, you got hurt. That's what they said about Lomachenko. You got hurt, deal with it, and you lost. So Lopez has to deal with it.
And that's the energy he sent out there, right? He was saying, don't come up with excuses. Lomachenko's a diva. Lomachenko's a racist. All this stuff.
Shows you the type of person he is. He said, he said, my thing is, I brought it up because I didn't finish my point. I forgot about the other half, but I was going to say, do you think letting that fucking condominium and sneakers punch him in the chest might have did something? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
Remember that shit?
That guy's a giant, too. He's a fucking
he's the actual mountain from the Game of Thrones. That's the guy who plays him. So yeah, he fucking wound up.
That guy looks 7 feet tall and like 300 plus pounds. That's what it looked like.
Well, yeah, I think he's 6'7", 400 pounds. Yeah, and he hit him dead square in the chest. I mean, dead square in the chest, right in the solar plexus. So who knows? I'm just saying it did happen.
Somebody in the chat saying that we made excuses for Lomachenko when he lost.
Did we make excuses? I think we said, hey, listen, it might have affected his performance. But you know what we do here when we said, hey, it might have affected his performance. Let's see it again. But guess what? The fans of Lopez and Lopez himself, they didn't want to do it. If a guy that we like, or he like his skills or whatever, he wins a controversial fight, whatever, we say, hey, run it back. But Lopez fans didn't want to see a rematch. They were like, no.
I'm telling you, man. I've seen this before. I've seen this in real life. I've seen like guys that talk a lot of shit. They don't want to fight that dude that fucking could back it up. I'm not saying he beats everybody, but he comes to fight. Okay, the guy edges him out. He smacks him and runs away. He lost. He dominated. I'm like, no, he didn't. You know, they just don't want to see him again. They're not confident. They don't want to see that dude again because they know that dude It comes down to the kind of energy fighters bring into that ring.
That's what gets me though about the whole Lomachenko thing, because I get people are trolling and all that, like he got whooped. Like obviously they don't believe that, but the fact that there are people out there that root against Lomachenko, but they'll root for a guy like Lopez, who was acting like him and his father were acting like clowns before the Lomachenko fight. Remember when Lopez Sr., obviously inebriated, walks up to Lomachenko's team. He goes, we respect you, but we're going to whoop your ass. We're going to whoop your ass. And then when he told his son goes, ooh, he starts jumping up and down like a monkey. And that's the guy people are rooting for. But when it comes to Lomachenko, he fights everybody. He doesn't make a gripes about the ring size, the judges, the location of the fight, the payday. He just says, give me the best and I'll fight. But no, that's not the guy that people want to root for. They want to root for Teofimo Lopez, who revealed his true character after the fight.
We live in a disgusting society. The morality is like, there's some people in the chat, you know, and there's some people in the chat that reflect that. They're disgusting human beings in real life, more than likely. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. You know,
Jimmy said, why, he asked the question, why are people hating on Lomachenko if he's doing all the things that Mr. BA just said? He's fighting everybody. He's not saying anything derogatory or anything that would make you hate the guy. He's not fighting in a boring ass fucking style or anything. So why hate him? Oh, remember some people were saying, well, I don't really hate him, but the fact that ESPN is hyping him up, that doesn't really go down well with me. Like, well, that's not a reason to hate the guy.
Bucho, they'll say, "Oh, you guys promote Eastern European fighters."
Yeah,
like, dude, nobody here is from there. I don't give a fuck what happens in Eastern Europe. Like, obviously, like I don't want nothing bad to happen to anybody. You get what I'm saying? But especially if they don't deserve it. But I have no fucking connection to Eastern Europe other than they're human beings like everybody else. Okay, that's it. Now, boxing is different. Boxing is just judging the quality in the ring, and
some people want to see something else.
Exactly, they just want to see something else.
There's something out there. Oh, sorry, Jimmy, you were gonna say something.
Oh no, it's just I was gonna say I just can't even. I always try to put myself in someone else's shoes. Like, okay, what are they thinking? And how could they have that position? And I'm like, the mental gymnastics it takes to fucking, nut hug or dick ride for a fighter whose only concern is protecting his O, fighting infrequently and against weak competition to protect his O. That way he can hopefully land a payday against the guy who had the intestinal fortitude to go out and create his own legacy instead of fucking glory snatching one. I don't even understand where it comes from. And that's when you realize it's not even about boxing. There's other fucking issues going on, and we all know what it is when it comes to the Eastern fucking Europeans.
Yeah, that's the other thing but just real quick, man, I look, that's like Bucho said, that when people are asked, hey, why do you hate Lomachenko? Oh, it's because ESPN hyped him up. But they root for Shakur Stevenson, but ESPN was hyping him up the wazoo after he beat Herring. So let's face the facts. Like Jimmy said, it's not about whether ESPN hypes him up or Top Rank hypes him up. It's about something else. And I hate to say it, but that's the real reason. It's racist people out there. They only root for the guy that looks like them. And I want to say something too. There was a guy, fuck, I forget the guy's name. Somebody left a comment in a video or so, and it's saying Lomachenko's never fought nobody, blah, blah, blah. So I click on the guy's channel. That's what I always do. Who is this fellow? Does he have videos, whatever? His whole page is filled with videos, like Snapchat or TikTok videos of rappers. These modern, 20, 21-year-old rappers who dress like women and all that, bunch of tattoos on their face. And I go, well, there you go. That's why he roots for Tank Davis, because and I sympathize with Tank Davis. He had a rough upbringing, but there comes a time when you're an adult. You either change your ways or you stay in your ways. And that's what a lot of these guys relate to. A guy like Tank Davis, full of tattoos, choking women. Well, he doesn't really talk that much smack, but like a guy like Teofimo Lopez who talks a lot of smack before a fight and so on and so forth. So, hey, listen, there's something out there for everybody. But then be honest about why you root for a guy. It's because you got tattoos too, like the guy. Probably a criminal record of some sort, and you relate to the guy.
They like that stuff. They like the, look, Lomachenko got like fucking tattoos on him too. Why they don't like him? Why? Because he's a serious man. Like, you can have a conversation with him, or you can see him talk on TV, and you can just tell, like, this is a dude that's about his family and about his work. His work is being the best boxer he can be, and treating the sport with integrity, meaning. I won't duck anybody. I'll fight everybody that I need to fight to get the job done, right? And so they look at that and they're like, I'm nothing like that. They look at people like him, and it's not just from Eastern Europe. Look, Canelo. Say what you want. I talked a lot of shit about Canelo, but Canelo has an excellent fucking resume. You know what I'm saying? Like, his resume is probably one of the greatest of all time, and I'm not bullshitting. Like, just look at the resume. Just look at what he did. They look at guys like that, and they say, "Man, I would never be able to do that." So they attach themselves to guys that are totally opposite of that actually resemble more who they are. You know what I'm saying? These are guys that are good enough, but don't have the work ethic to put in the work like a guy like Lomachenko, like a guy like Canelo Alvarez, those type of people.
Right, and look, at the end of the day, screw Lomachenko. Real quick, at the end of the day, just screw Lomachenko. If he loses, he loses. It is what it is. But I mean, all I'm saying is, I like people who are honest about who they root for and why. That's it. I don't. Give me the real reason. Don't give me your projected reason or the fake reason. Because if you're going to act a certain way, then you got to give it, a little truth in there, a little grain of truth. But go ahead, Butcher. Yeah, what are you going to say?
Yeah, but the thing, okay, you might not like Lomachenko. Okay, that's fine, because I was saying, you should, like, I'm not trying to say you should like Lomachenko. You can do whatever the fuck you want. But you got to get, like, I don't understand why they don't give him respect. And also, I mean, when Lomachenko lost to Teofimo Lopez, I didn't like the fact that they're acting like this guy got whooped and like that he was exposed and he should retire. I mean, that to me just shows me that you don't know anything about boxing.
Amen.
Well, listen, I mean, with Lomachenko, we'll see what happens. But that's the other thing. Like Butcher brought up the good point earlier. Everyone's talking about Davis versus Haney. Good fights, by the way. Very good fights. I hope they happen. Haney, Davis. Some people are still bringing up Ryan Garcia. I mean, hey, listen, screw Ryan Garcia until he you know what he needs to do? You guys tell me if you agree, disagree. He needs at least 2 fights against 2 good opponents to get back in our good graces as fans. Right or wrong? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree.
Well, BDA, Bucho, to your point too, real quick, man. Check out like this fucking thing. This is a tweet. Loma would be called the GOAT for winning a fight with one hand. Half his career consists of close fights with a lot of guys with no notable wins. And he was on a pound for pound fight. It's just like, then I can't even make out the rest of the garbage. But
wait,
then,
who said this?
what about Loma's better than he says Salido, Cruz is better than Salido. Like, just the insane shit. Like, you get on Twitter, I'm like, I can only stomach like 5 minutes at a time. It's like fucking hitting your head against the wall.
So, hold on.
Take a look at Salido. Let's take a look at Salido.
Nicholas Waters, who has a win over a future Hall of Famer, and then Dito Tenaire.
Bubba.
Let's take a look at Salido for a second. Salido beat the daylights out of Robert Guerrero, right? They called it a no contest, but we saw what happened in the fucking ring, right? We know what happened. He beats up Guerrero. He goes to Puerto Rico and knocks out Juan Manuel Lopez.
Wasn't that his first loss?
Both of them. He knocked him out.
Right, but wasn't that Loma's
Hold on. He knocked him out twice.
I'm just asking a question.
He knocked him out twice. He knocked
was
him
that
out.
was that what was that one?
Hold on, damn.
I couldn't hear what Reckon was saying. I couldn't hear what.
Can nobody hear me? You guys can't hear me?
I couldn't hear you.
You
So just repeat it a little bit, please.
I'm sorry, man. Yeah, he beat him. He knocked him out twice in PR. Okay, he beat up Robert Guerrero. Like the guy fought Marquez. Okay, he lost to a fucking great fighter who knocked out Manny Pacquiao. I mean, yeah, this like Salido's not. He fought him in his second fight and arguably won the fight.
Yeah.
Arguably won the fight. How old was Cruz? He's like a kid, man. 23. Fucking Salido. By that time, he fought Lomachenko. He look at his record, even with the losses. Like he fought a lot of like experienced boxers. This guy was all over the place. Are you seriously comparing him to Cruz? That's insane.
And look what he does after that. Look what he does after that. He goes in his next fight, fights Gary Russell, who's like this undefeated prospect, highly touted. Goes fights him on an event that's on Showtime, and I believe it was only promoted by Al Heyman, and beats him so bad that they had to give him the fight.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's, you know what? It's interesting is I don't know who that was, Jimmy. I didn't quite get who was the guy saying that about Loma, that he's never fought anybody. But let's say he's never fought anybody. I haven't seen him struggle all that much, other than the Salido and the Lopez fight, which he lost. Every other fight, he's putting a beating on guys. Even if he does start off a little bit slow, he always ends up strong. Talking about against Campbell, against Pedraza, the whooping he gave to, and that was a real whooping, to a guy like Sosa, who knocked out, what's his name, the Dominican Republic guy, Fortuna. So at least he's going, the extra mile against these guys and really putting a hurting on them. Tank Davis has to run around and clinch for 12 rounds. Haney, I mean, I can't really criticize Haney because, I mean, Jojo is a good opponent, but let's face the facts. He's a 126-pounder with a bunch of fat and muscle fighting at 135 with no punching power. So
yeah,
when people like to say about Loma never fought anybody, okay, let's say that. He's fighting about the same competition as the other guys, if you even want to go down that route, which is not true. But let's say that he's fighting the same level of competition. He's beating them up better than these other guys. I don't want to hear that crap anymore about, these guys are better. He's avoiding them. The fuck out of here. If anyone's avoiding somebody, it's Lomachenko. But like I said, Lomachenko still has to win this Saturday. And Commey, he's no joke.
Well, I'm just going to say real too. Every time somebody mentions Salido, we have to always remember that the referee, Ian Cole, actually publicly apologized for his performance, calling it an embarrassment, the worst performance of his career. He should have not only deducted points from Salido, he should have disqualified him, he said.
Yep.
That gets brushed under the fucking carpet like fucking yesterday's fucking...
They don't care about nuance. They don't care about that nuance, man.
Let's first of all, Frank, I recognize, I'm sorry I was interrupting you earlier, but wasn't that Walma's first loss to...
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to point out. So this up and coming guy that's going on his second or third division, who's supposed to be the next great fighter of Puerto Rico, gets stopped by a guy with like not record losses, but a trail horse with a lot of losses, which tells you how good over an achiever Salido was. Now, let's also point out the fact that Salido was 3 pounds overweight-ish going into the fight, and like 7 to almost 10 pounds heavier than Loma the night of the fight. And all those low blows on top of that. Junior welter to try and make the fight even. He's going low all those times, but we don't want to hear any of that because that's just excuses. Davis didn't look good because he hurt his hand. That's not an excuse.
Right. You see what I'm saying? You see how that? So he hurt his hand. Let's excuse him. Let's forget about Salido was actually a welterweight while Lomachenko was a lightweight. But by the time of the fight, right? So you got one guy 147 versus a guy 135 pounds who's low blowing him, and he was using veteran tactics because the guy already had like 7, fucking 60 fights going into that fight.
Now,
somebody in the chat saying that we're making it as to be as if Salido is an all-time great.
No. But that was his second fight. That was his professional fight.
And how did anybody make him? And how did anybody make him sound like a fucking... I was going to say, nobody said that. Nobody's making... Everybody's just stating facts, what happened on the night. He did deliberately come in overweight. The ref should have disqualified him. I mean, these are all just things that happened. Because we say things that are facts that they don't want to hear, they have to label it with fucking bullshit. It's just ridiculous.
Well, you know what? I gotta tell you, man. What irks me of all this, because if Loma wins, loses, okay, it is what it is. It's boxing. I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. But what's been irking me the last 6 months, especially after Lomachenko beat Nakatani, was the fact that we always have people around YouTube in the comment sections and other channels and blah blah blah, complaining about the best not fighting the best, right? In fact, that's all this year. That's most of what we've been getting about the four queens. Who's avoiding who? Hey, remember when people lost their shit when Lopez and Haney had that little confrontation in the crowd? It's like, who's avoiding who, blah, blah. But then when you get a guy like Lomachenko, who does fight almost everybody, doesn't make any excuse. Well, he makes excuses. He doesn't make any gripes about the ring size. He doesn't make any gripes about the weight, about the fucking pay, about the location. He tries to fight everybody and does it in an entertaining fashion. You don't like the guy because he's white. But so what I'm trying to get is I don't want to hear from these people anymore that they're boxing fans and that they want the best to fight the best. You don't want the best to fight the best. You want your guy that looks like you to do a little bit better than everybody else, and that way you're content with your life. Look at Lomachenko.
Also, BDA, I think also it might be because his style is kind of like it's ahead of its time, so a lot of people get a little intimidated by that, and they're kind of like they refuse to accept it. So when he loses, he got exposed, but not really. It's just the fact that his style is kind of like ahead of its time that they're like, wow, man, they can't believe it.
Yeah.
Gonzalo, you hit it right on the head. First, BDA, that was perfect what you just said. 100%. Unequivocal fact what you just said. And now, to your point too, Gonzalo, it is too. That's part of the thing. It wasn't just he was a great white fighter, but he was a white fighter doing things that no other fighter was doing. He was beyond slick. He was doing like crazy, making dudes quit, making other fucking champions say, nah. Remember Walters when he pointed to Walters and goes, oh, next round. Walters goes, waves back to him. Yeah, now I'm done. Turns to the ref, puts his head off to the side. Yeah, no more. Think about that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people got really angry when he was compared with Muhammad Ali. I think Bob Arum made that comparison. But, whether you disagree or agree with that statement, it's Bob Arum. It's Loma's promoter. He's going to say anything he needs to say.
He's going to tell you he's Jesus.
He's doing his job.
Why are you blaming Lomachenko like it's his fucking fault?
Yeah.
Well, I think
let's look at things to a perspective of let's compare him to Ali on the fact that his skill is above everybody else around him at his time. Now, I'm not trying to say he's as great as Muhammad Ali. Don't twist my words around for the people in the chat. Nobody from cruiserweight on down, with the exception of Usyk, is doing what he's doing. That's not to say that no one's ever done it before, but in this time, right now, no one's showing this kind of athleticism with boxing IQ, with ring smarts, with punch variety, with footwork. They're not doing it right now. He reminds me a bit of Pacquiao combination with Hector Camacho, like the speed and movement with the variety of punches that Manny throws, but nobody else is doing that. So to comparing him to Ali by the fact that he's setting a standard that nobody else is doing right now is a fair statement. Saying he's as great as Muhammad Ali or has the same skill set as Muhammad Ali is not what was ever said.
Exactly, but I mean, look, they're hyping Shakur Stevenson up. But I don't see those same people. I don't see those same people.
Nobody's upset about that. ESPN was like showering this guy with flowers. They're just throwing flowers at him at his feet. They were he was like fucking King Jaffe out there.
And it doesn't mean that Lomachenko. It doesn't mean. I mean, he lost this against Teofimo, but going forward, it doesn't mean that he can't lose again. I mean, there's other fighters that go, okay, Shakur, what does he have? He has speed and timing. You combine those two things, it makes for a pretty good puncher because you don't see the shot coming. But it doesn't mean that Lomachenko will never lose again, but real recognize real, right?
Well, I mean, he's fighting everybody. Eventually, he's going to lose again. I mean, that's just a fact of life.
Exactly. It's the odds. And the thing is, listen, and always a good qualifier for me, is when I notice if it's all the guys in the game praise this person. Stephen Breadwood Edwards, other fighters praise this dude. Think about that. Guys who see shit that most of us don't see. They see in the ring those subtle little nuances. He just changes his speed, changes his angles, just little things you don't really notice, but he does it consistently every round, never ceases to stop doing that. And that in itself is exhausting. And so when you got other people who do what he does, praising him, it is what it is.
Now against Nakatani, what he did on the inside, what I noticed, how he changed it up now is like when he's on the inside, he's sliding hard. He's changing the angle where he slides into position where he changed the angle to where the opponent can't punch him, but he slid hard, then he's punching down with a lot of torque. Basically, he knows what he needs to do, but now he's doing it like times 2.
Times 2. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, though. But I mean, he looked healthy enough, right?
He's doing it. He's doing it quicker and faster. What I'm saying, he's not hesitating. You know, he's changing the angle, but he's sliding. He's shifting out of position far enough where he's not like pussyfooting around. He's getting out of the way, and at the same time, he's torquing into his punch and throwing it hard and fast without doubting himself.
Mm-hmm.
So he's doing it like more with more confidence.
Right. Now the only thing,
I think it's because they lost because he lost by decision. And I think that did 2 things. I think it remotivated him, and now he's talking. He says, "I just want to unify," because we've seen unifications now between Terrence, Josh Taylor, and Canelo. And it's, the thing right now, and that's what he just said. I want to unify the lightweight division, be undisputed, unified. So I think it's rejuvenated his career, and I think he doesn't want to leave it in any judge's hands anymore. And I think he's going to constantly try to go for the knockout even more than he was. Okay, BDA, go, brother.
Yeah, sorry. Just want to let people know that I'll open up the phone lines. So if you want to call in and comment on the Lomachenko-Commey situation or any of the big fights that are going to be taking place this Saturday. Also, the big news coming out is that Tyson Fury is going to have to fight Dylan White. And so perhaps Joshua will rematch Usyk. So apparently Fury supposedly, according to Frank Warren, really wants that Usyk fight, but it might not happen right away. And tell you the truth, I don't think Usyk versus Fury will be all that exciting. I mean, obviously it should happen because it would be for all the marbles, but it would be a sloppy fight. But I mean, hey, listen, whichever fight we get, it would still be okay. Okay, which fight, other than the Lomachenko versus Commey fight, which fight are you guys looking forward to this Saturday? Like I said, we got Donaire fighting. We've got...
Donaire.
Donaire's always... Yeah, Donaire's always in good fights.
Bivol is fighting, like I said. Kurbanov versus Patrick Teixeira.
He's been disappointing me so much lately.
Yeah.
Not in his skill level. He just never brings it to that next gear. He just fights in that European Olympic style, like, I'm up on the cards. Why put myself in a position to get knocked out? Dude, get the fuck in there, man. There's a reason why nobody knows who you are, bro. It's your own fault.
He hardly ever fights. He's been as inactive. He's had less than 20 fights for 3 years now. I mean, come on. I give him one of them was the pandemic, but I mean, I don't think he's even got. He might have right at 20 fights even. I don't remember what his record is, but it's not very many fights, and he's never really active. And when he is active, it's on.
Who's his manager?
That's a good question.
Well, we're talking about Bivol.
Yeah.
Bivol.
I thought he was pretty active. Hold on, let me check his. I thought he was active. Let me check his record, see what he's been up to this last couple of.
He's been flying under my radar, so I'll take that hit if he has been active. But it's not like he's been fighting anything that's going. Anyone's ever said, "Hey, Chief, did you catch that Bivol fight? You need to go back if you didn't see it." Nobody has said that to me.
Yeah, you're right.
I think it's been once a year, right? Not much more than once a year, no.
Yeah, Chief is.
I don't catch every fight.
Chief is correct, man. He only fought. Chief, you're correct. He fought 2019 right before the pandemic against Castillo, right. And he only fought this year in May, so he didn't fight at all during the 2020 year.
And not everybody did. I'm not going to hold that against them because it might have been hard to get a fight going. But we've been almost at this pandemic for going on a year now to a point to where you can get fights. I mean, everyone's got certain lockdowns, but fights are happening. So
yeah, you got no choice. You're going to lose out of your prime for some guys. I don't think he's that young either.
He's 30 years old.
Is how old?
30.
Yeah, so this is the point where you got to start padding that bank account, or else have your plan B ready already.
Yeah, exactly. Because he reminds me, I've said this before, he reminds me of the 2000 version of Juan Manuel Marquez. Just, he goes in there, in and out, couple of combos here and there, but he never, like Jimmy says, never puts the pedal to the metal. And I mean, look, listen, that's fine if that's the way you want to handle your career, but it's not going to get you the big bucks. It's not going to get you the fans' admiration, the adulation, and probably won't even really get you that much shine, as they say, after you retire or when you retire.
It would BDA if he was American, because let's be honest, that's the way some other guys are fighting, but they're not doing it like in an elite style like Bivol, where he's coming in and out, scoring, and he pretty much wins every round. But when like Tank Davis does, he's the next best thing.
That's a good point, man. I mean, look, nobody denies his skills are on par, man. They're really solid. The in and out, he controls the distance very well. But it's just at this point you want to see him. You want to see him do something a little bit more, be a little bit more flashy, be a little more impressive. Like, actually, at this point, I would not want to see him. If he dances around this dude on Saturday for 12 rounds, it's time that he presses for a big fight. Even against Zurdo Ramirez, which I think he schools Ramirez. But because Ramirez I don't think he's that good. At least give him that guy in there. Or, Beterbiev obviously would be the big one too. But this type of fights, man, against some guy we never heard of, or most of us have never heard of, I mean, come on.
What gets me about him is that a lot of these guys will come out of the amateurs and they'll throw these skill out there and they'll look fantastic. Keith Thurman's another one, even though he doesn't have the same aesthetic skill level as Bivol, but they get these knockouts and they look impressive and everyone thinks, they're going to be a great fighter. Then they win a title, they get the world-class level, and some of their skill still translates there, but all their power's gone. Well, their power was never gone. It was never really there to begin with. They were just matched against lesser fighters that get knocked out by lesser punchers.
Mm-hmm.
Once they step up, they're not getting knocked out anymore. They're not getting knockouts anymore because in Bivol's case, he's not putting the punches together enough to set up the knockout. He's not going to be able to get it with pot shotting with big shots like he did coming up. And Kobarev was a lot like that too. He could pot shot and get highlight reel knockouts from lesser competition. Then when you got the world class level, now you got to let your hands go. If you're going to hurt a guy, if you're going to knock him down, if you're going to knock him out, you can't pot shot anymore. You got to put your stuff together. You got to go back to the basics, combinations, setting things up with a jab to the body, up to the head. Basic little amateur things that
I'd like to go back and see if he got hurt in any fight over the last few years, because it to me, honestly, it seems like he's afraid to get hit. Like he's overly cautious. Like he just, you know what I mean, doesn't like to get hit. Just be honest.
It could also be something like along the lines of, how when punchers only stick to punching, well, he kind of got that mentality where he's only sticking true to what he knows. And then he just got used to that style that has become mundane, and he can't really do anything else because that's his comfort zone.
It's a fair statement. No, it's a very.
I'm just speculating.
No, it's a very fair statement. Again, I still stand by mine of the fact that when the competition raised up, his power wasn't there. But again, if there is anything to take him, challenge him to go to the next level, he gets comfortable in that style, like you just said, Gonzo. And that's why they just fall. And there's nothing to challenge him. There's no trainer to push him. There's no fighter to challenge him. There's no extra push to say, if I don't change my game, I'm going to lose. So they just stay where they're at, and they kind of peak.
Yeah, because in the elite level, once you understand that he's coming in and out, and he's not sitting down on the shot, he's only looking to pop shot, catch you at the end of his fist when he's touching down on the canvas, coming forward, or counter you as he's coming back. Fighters are gonna they're gonna block his punches, they're gonna slip his punches, and they're gonna counter him most likely. But usually they're gonna be able to take the power better because they're gonna understand what he's doing.
I think an elite fighter would have to do that, not just a contender. But yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Man, we have to wait and see what Bivol does. Like I said, he just, like Jimmy said as well, it just seems like he's one of those guys who's willing to go to the motions in there. Very good skills, don't get me wrong, but good skills don't get you the big publicity, the big bucks, and the big fights. Because some of these guys could look at Bivol and say, well, he doesn't really draw that much of a crowd, and he's very dangerous in the sense that I can't catch him and he can't catch me, just in and out all night. Why would I want to fight him? In fact, I dare say, I think most people would actually prefer to take their chances against Beterbiev than against, because at least he's going to be there to be hit. Although I have to say, he does have better defense than people give him credit for. And by the way, that's the other thing, that the Beterbiev is fighting Marcus Brown. I think that's going to be an exciting fight for as long as he goes. Because Marcus Brown at least does have quick hands. And I can't recall the last time Beterbiev fought somebody that could. I mean, obviously Gvozdyk was very, very good, but I think Brown has a little bit more explosiveness to his leg movement and his shot. So it should be interesting. But that's not this Saturday. That's the next, I believe.
Oh yeah, and especially thinking that the opponent that Marcus Brown fought, he tested positive. So who knows how strong that dude ever was. But then, if he was tested positive, maybe Marcus Brown could have done better if the guy would have tested clean.
Yeah, maybe,
Jean-Pascal.
Jean-Pascal. Oh, yeah. He was going to... Yeah, that would have been interesting to see, man. I mean, wait a minute. Pascal already fought Marcus Brown, right? So you were talking about...
He fought him twice, and then in the rematch...
Never happened.
Am I wrong or right? He tested positive, so that was a strong guy that was on something. If he would have been clean, you never know, because Marcus Brown was on like a little run, I believe.
Oh, okay. He was going to rematch Badu Jack. Remember on one of the Jake Paul undercards or Logan Paul? I forget which one. So yeah, it was going to be Badu Jack.
Because he got that cut.
Yeah. No, but it was Badu Jack was going to rematch Pascal this year, and then Pascal tested positive for 2 substances, I believe. Not just one, but I think 2. So, by the way, folks.
Oh, yeah. So nobody... Sorry, BD.
No, don't worry about it. Yeah, go ahead.
So nobody actually knows if he tested positive against Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
When Marcus Brown fought, who did he fight? Jean-Pascal. Nobody knows if Jean-Pascal was on something for that fight. Well, but when he tested positive in his future fight, you could kind of speculate that he had always been on something.
Right. That's what people do with Margarito with the whole hand wraps. Like, oh, he must have had him way before the Mosley fight. Let's go to the phone lines here real quick. The phones are open, so you can call in. Numbers right there on the left-hand side of your screen. 818, you're on the air. 818, what's on your mind?
Hey, what up, man? What are you guys talking about? I just got on online.
Well, we're talking a little bit of everything, man. We've got a bunch of fights coming up on Saturday. We got Lomachenko, Commey. We got Nonito Donaire taking on Raymart Caballo, or Ceballo. I forget how you say his name. You got Bivol fighting. You got, who else? Casimero's fighting too in Saudi Arabia, I believe. Yeah.
Hey, I watched that fight, that Cruz. You guys were talking about it, but for some reason the show got cut off or something. I don't know what happened. But that was a really good fight, man. Tank Davis and Cruz, man. I mean, pretty impressive, man. Cruz is pretty. I mean, I became a fan of that guy, man. That guy gave a hell of a fight, man. I mean, in my opinion, I would if it wasn't for Davis being a champion, I would have gave it to Cruz, man. I just like the way he looked on that fight, man. And I mean, yeah, and he had everything, all those conditions, with the gloves, something was. There's a lot of. I mean, it was weird that Tank Davis wasn't wearing those gloves that he normally wears. I'm pretty sure there was a catch weight there or something, some kind of stuff. I mean, with Mayweather in there, man, I don't trust that guy.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. I mean, remember, he said he wants to keep everything in-house. What does that mean? He doesn't want to make other promotional entities great. So what's he saying? Is he saying those other guys are going to beat his guy and they're going to take away the prestige from him? I mean, it makes no sense, man. But yeah, man. So, caller, anything else you want to say before we move on?
I don't trust anything Mayweather does, man. That guy, and he's a hater, man. I could understand the criticism with Canelo Alvarez, but I mean, he's straight hating bad, man. I don't get it, man. That guy that shit he was saying there, man. He doesn't remember that he had him freaking weight drain. He had a catch weight on Canelo, fucking everything. So I don't know what's up with that guy, man. Still crazy.
Well, listen, we'll see what happens.
I mean, I would like to see, Cruz and Camboso. Hopefully, they give this guy a chance. Another fight. I mean, I think it was a perfect matchup. I don't take any credit from Davis, man. He's a beast, man. And everything, but it's a matchup. I don't know if Cruz will match up with Camboso and all the other fighters, but I think it was just a perfect matchup for Tank Davis. But Tank Davis is a beast, man. I like the way he fights too. So. But I think Cruz edged it out, if it was up to him. So you guys have a good one. Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you for calling in, A1. Call back next time, Ramen. Take it easy. All right. Yeah, Tank Davis. If he lets his hands go enough, he can be entertaining. He can't fight one punch at a time. Don't want to see that crap anymore. Let's go to...
But he's not doing it, BDA. He's not going to do it. They just told you in the press conference, right? What they told us.
Right. We don't know shit about boxing, yeah. 267, you're on the air. 267, what's on your mind?
What's up, boys? Sig Butt J. Hope you guys made some money on the Adamas call.
No, well, actually, recognize, or Pete, did one of you guys take the advice? No, fine. Sorry,
I didn't, like, it was too last minute. I just said, fuck it, nah.
Yeah, sorry,
so
caller.
That card, man, I know you guys are past that, but that, oh my God, PBC, it's just a show. It's WWE pretty much.
I mean, you have to admit, it was interesting on paper, right? Fundora against an undefeated guy. Adamas Servachenko.
The only reason I was able to call that one is Charlo has nobody to fight at 160. They kind of PBC had like they had to have him win. What were they going to do? Devianchenko 2? Nobody wanted to watch that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
So I knew if Adamas at least survived, I knew that he was gonna probably eke out a decision whether he won or not.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, there's plenty of fucking bums over the PBC for him to fight. They would have found one. They would have grabbed another Montel.
I mean, I'll say I think Fundora lost to that Garcia guy. And that Tank fight was like friggin' dead even. I mean, I guess you could give it to Tank by like a round, but man, did he look like shit. I think Floyd's trying to live his life through Tank now. It's almost like who was it that almost beat Floyd back in the day, and everybody like clamored for a rematch?
Well, if you're talking about Castillo, that he did rematch him.
Castillo, yeah,
right.
So there was another gentleman though, wasn't there? Another Hispanic gentleman.
Well, they mentioned Jesus Chavez there, but I don't know if that was that close.
Yeah, no, he's
not Chavez. No, I would have remembered that.
Carlos Hernandez, he broke both hands, I think, against Carlos Hernandez. He spent the whole fight running and clinching. So I think that's why the guy brought. But then Tank Davis got insulted, and he goes, "You think it was that type of fight?" And then Mayweather started being passive aggressive. So I mean, they've got a whole bunch of issues on there that they have to resolve in their own heads. But caller, what do you think about Lomachenko this Saturday? Looking forward to that one.
I don't think he's going to have any problems. I would say it's going to be a no-mas fight again, but I heard you guys talking about Commey freaking kills lions, so I have a feeling he's not going to quit on the stool, but you never know.
Yeah, man.
If he doesn't quit on the stool, he's probably getting stopped around the 9th to 11th. I'm going to say to a liver shot.
Right. Yeah, I agree, man. The guy's got heart.
A lead right hook from Loma.
Yeah, the guy's got heart, so we'll see what happens. I would be surprised if he quit, but if he does, well, great, Lomachenko. Anyway, 267. Thank you for your call. We'll catch you in the next one, right?
Well, wait, real quick. I was gonna say, this weekend, another big underdog that I just have a weird feeling. Anybody see Katie Taylor possibly losing to this Kazakh chick? It's tough to bet against a Kazakh.
I would have to know who the Czech
I don't follow women boxing, man. I keep it honest.
I don't follow it much, but I know of Katie Taylor. I've watched enough, seen enough of her, and that other chick. I don't think Katie's going to lose to her, but who knows?
I'm betting the kid.
I don't think so either. Exactly. Sorry.
No, I'm done, brother. You go.
So the only thing I see about Taylor is she's starting to get old. And I could see maybe her getting caught. Her last 2 fights, she got pieced up. But since you guys don't follow that, no point in talking about it. What Bivol, you were talking about him earlier. I could see him possibly cashing out to that other Russian cat, but he's probably just gonna, box him out for 12 rounds.
Yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen with that. I mean, hopefully he tries to put a couple combinations together, maybe a little bit more pressure here and there. Why not? Would love to see that. By the way, listen, 267, we got to move on to another call, but thank you for your call. Call back next time, right, man?
All right, boys.
Yeah. All right, take it easy, man.
Yeah, BDA, he sounds different this time. He sounds like Action Jackson.
He did sound a little bit like... That wasn't Jackson, right?
No, it was a guy that called saying that Vasylenko was going to win, but he sounded different the last time.
Yeah, the guy that Pete called DJ... I don't know why Pete called him a DJ gambler. He doesn't know how often this guy gambles or whatever.
Hey, but just real quick, he brought up a good point. Remember when Mayweather said, if I would have fought Pitbull, I probably would have knocked him out? He's trying to vicariously live through this guy now.
He's insane.
Through Tank Davis.
He's insane. He needs to lock himself up in a room and get himself right. That's what he needs to do. Speaking of right, let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 914. 914, you're on the air. 914, what's on your mind?
What's up, big boss? Jimmy. What I want to say is, if you go back to October of last year when Lomachenko lost a decision to Teofimo Lopez, it was, a lot of the articles being pumped out at the time was about the four kings, and how, the young guns are going to take over the division, and maybe that Lomachenko could quite possibly be on the way out as being at that elite level. And some people took it like I don't want to say most people, but some people where this or that.
Caller, you're breaking up, caller.
Pretty okay.
You're breaking up, man.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Could you hear me now?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so I was going to say the comeback run with Nakatani and then Commey, I don't think he's going to underestimate Richard Commey and then possibly get clipped. I think he's paying attention to what's going on in this division, and this could be his last hurrah as far as, doing something big in the 135-pound division.
Yeah, man, I think that's the feeling he's getting because he's, 32, 33 now? So I think he's trying to put a really hyperdrive and get something done.
I think some people said he was going to move back down to 130 to unify 130 since they felt like he was never really a 135-pounder.
Right. Well, Bob Arum came out now recently and said he's thinking of Shakur Stevenson against Lomachenko if Lomachenko wins.
I think Shakur's he's all wrong for Loma. I think he's too just physically he's gonna overpower Loma. He might be faster than Loma in the exchanges.
Well, that would be an interesting fight to see. But of course, Lomachenko has to get past Commey first, and so I don't think he's overlooking him, and nor should he, because this guy can crack. But 914, anything else you want to say before we move on?
Yeah, what do you guys think of the unprofessionalism that happened during the Tank Isaac Cruz media presser? They're basically taking Leonard Ellerby's undoing the work of the promotion at that point when he talks about smacking another promoter and this and that, and I just feel like that's all wrong for boxing. It should just be about the fighters and the fights.
I agree, man. The fact that everyone had to put their input in there, the trainer came in, Mayweather came in, that Leonard Ellerby, and by the way, did you guys hear about Leonard Ellerby saying he would punch Eddie Hearn if he saw him on site or something like that? What's that all about?
Yeah, he was saying, because somebody asked how would he do in a boxing match against Hearn, and he said, "Oh man, don't do that to him. I'd fucking smoke that, but he kept I really went at him hard." And guys, Eddie Hearn is a silver spoon fucking upper middle class kid from London. He's not a fighter. So, are you a tough guy because you're an because Ellerby's an ex-fighter, so you can beat up some fucking soft silver spoon kid? Really?
Ellerby used to fight?
Yeah, he's an ex-boxer, yeah.
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought, guys, I don't know if you...
Go ahead, caller. Yes.
I don't know if you guys listen to Ring IQ boxing talk, but if this is true that possibly Floyd fronted Canelo his purse, I don't know how PBC finances are dealt, but if the anger was that Canelo, made that purse and he decided to kind of skate off and do a thing, I could understand the frustration with PBC against Canelo Alvarez because they gave him a really high purse and then he doesn't want to immediately continue doing business with them.
Yeah, that's the PBC's fault, man. If that's true. You know, they were so desperate to put that fight on their net, you know, on the networks they work with. And so you got to deal with that, man. Yeah. He's not interested in doing work with them besides the Caleb Plant fight.
And well, they got nothing else really what he's looking for right now. But again, to what I was told, man, it's about the same time too. That press conference was going off. They probably got the gist of the roundabout number, and they probably whispered in his ear, "This is what we're looking." It's kind of like they'll round it up, but they'll know exactly what that pay-per-view was selling at. And I think he heard what it was selling. He knew it was a dog. He knew it didn't do numbers, and he was bullshit. And all he sees, and again, you guys, if you saw on Twitter, they've been going at those guys hard. Even blue check reporters going at them about how they fucking managed Davis. So he's on this fucking media's out against us. Kick type thing. So, and again, he lashed out because who's the biggest face in boxing right now? Canelo. And I mean, dude, we're talking about a guy. Let's be honest. He went over to the MGM. He lives in Vegas. When the day he found out, because if you used to walk in before, it was like the front of it was like Mayweather heaven, because all these pictures of Floyd Mayweather and his fucking logos everywhere. Because you know that was the house. You know, they said the house Mayweather built. The day it wasn't long after he retired. They finally said. And he pulled it down. He flew over there in his car and was freaking out to the point security had to ask him to leave. That's how much of a scene he made. That's the fucking truth. But that's not a big deal. He gets kicked out of fucking. It was the reason why I was told he bought a strip club is because him and his boys were kicked out of most of them in Vegas. In fact, there was a police report filed on a couple of times. They get really handsy with the girls.
Okay.
So, I mean, it is what it is. Oh, yeah. No, you can look that shit up online.
I always thought Floyd went to
when they took his papers down.
I always thought Floyd
shrine.
I always thought Floyd went to a male strip club. So that's a revelation to me. All right, well, listen, caller,
the narcissist.
Caller, we got to move on. Thank you for your call. We'll catch you next, all right, man?
Take it easy,
guys. Take care. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, man. Take it easy. Man, that's interesting, Jimmy. I think you'd mentioned that before. I forget if you, but
yeah.
I've mentioned it before. Yeah, I brought it up before. Yeah,
but it always sounds better when he retells it because he's just that good of a storyteller.
Go up and check that shit out, man. He was got handsy with a girl, and it was right after that he opened up. I forget what they call it, but it's not on the main strip. But yeah, MGM when I don't know if somebody wrote an article about it, but yeah, look it up. I think Steve talked about it too, that he heard that he was furious because he felt it was too soon. I might come back. They're like, well, we're not dealing and Mike comes off, back, dude. I don't know. He just might have thought they were going to keep his gear up forever. But yeah. I mean, think about it. Every big fight, he has to say something within 24 hours, get his name out there. But anyways, go, brother.
Yeah, and nobody brought Canelo up until he did, and he made an issue about that. I don't know if it was because of the Tank Davis gloves that he took away, which they didn't mention because it was going to sound bad.
We were talking about that. Remember, Gonzalo, we were talking about that last night on my show.
Yeah, I mean, dude, just if you wear his gloves, you're probably going to become more popular because you're going to gain the Mexican fans' respect because they're going to say, oh, well, you like him, and then we also like you. But, that's not good. Jealousy is not good, like I mentioned on Recognized Podcast. But, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we were talking about, Jimmy, the fact that Tank seems to admire Canelo. And basically, Floyd Mayweather doesn't like that shit.
And think about that, too, right, brother? He at least, you got to give him, he's smart enough to know. Was there anything about his fighter's performance that said fucking, oh, this is going to get a lot of people talking about that, or at least the press? He knew that. So what did he do? He created a controversy, knowing he would get press, knowing people would talk about it. And again, it just keeps his fighter in the, name in there. But yeah, no, his and then another thing I thought was hilarious, all you people are angry because fucking you expect him to get a knockout. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? You promote him as the fucking most exciting knockout artist in boxing. That's your fucking pitch. And then you get angry when he goes in and stinks the joint out? Fuck out of here.
Yeah, want to know part of the inside game with Cruz. Instead of exchanging with them on the inside, he rather would have he resorted to tying them up and throwing them down to the canvas every time they were fighting on the inside. We're supposed to fight on the inside. Man, you know what another cringy thing he did? When he called the the American fighter, and he told him, "Come here." I think Ammo something. You see, guys like him, they're really good fighters, but they don't get the credit. Right? Did you remember that?
Yeah, he was too in his feelings, or in that mode, that mode for, for attention. He was just like losing it. I thought he was kind of just babbling, It's just babble, that's all it is to me.
Well, remember
Like
in
he
the
was
last
shook.
episode,
Right, there you go. He was shook, man. He's like, dude, like, get the fuck. Nobody wants to hear about your back in your days. We want to hear about Tank's days.
well,
What you-
remember in the
what you
last
got
episode,
planned?
in the last episode, Jimmy said that he received a text indicating that they received the projected numbers for the pay-per-view
Yes,
before
yes.
the press con. That's why they were pissed off, because they needed somebody to blame for what was going to.
I meant to bring that up too, man, on my show last night. I wanted to bring that shit up, but I forgot about it. Jimmy had mentioned that in the last show, like the fight, the post show that we did after the fight. I think it was the next day, was it?
That's why I write shit down, dude. I'm so fucking. I have to write shit down, right?
Yeah, man. I'll forget about that. Yeah.
And the hypocrisy, in the sense that he would say, he made a comment. I told you guys, don't steal the pay-per-view. But then when he fights at exhibition, he says, I robbed the bank with this fight.
Hey, that's a good point, man. That's true. It's and look, how many times did this guy? Somebody said that too in the Discord. They go, this guy, every time he said before a fight, I'm going in here to win. I'm going to put on a fantastic show, blah blah blah. And then he shows up and he stinks out the joint. So, hey, sorry, man. I mean, it's the nature of the game now. People can get pay for the fight, or they can stream it online. Now, I'm all about paying for fights because I don't want to sit around on a shitty stream when I don't know if it's going to go off or, shut down, and who's going to, there's no technical support. But you got to give people a show. Otherwise, they won't pay the next time.
You know something, BDA? I bought that fight, and from some people that I heard that the undercard was not bad. I bought the fight last minute. It was like, all right, I'm watching all my football games. I'm like listening to, I'm getting all the alerts from the Discord, and I'm asking questions what time the fight starts. And then I said, all right, fuck it. Let me just put the fight. Let me just buy the fight. So I just bought it right on time. I forgot what fight ended, and then their fight came on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and listen, people in the chat, they're still talking about the Cruz Davis fight. Look, I'd have to rewatch the fight and score it round by round, but I didn't see Tank Davis landing that many shots. Now, that's, again,
I thought he lost, BDA. I thought he lost, man. Watching it on the fly, just watching the fight, maybe I wasn't really into, like, scoring it carefully. I thought Cruz beat him.
Yeah, I wonder what would have happened I remember when Klitschko fought Brian Jennings in the United States. I think it was his first fight in the U.S. in almost a decade or something like that. Well, like that. For a long time, yeah. And he kept clinching and clinching. Finally, the ref said, hey, he took a point away for clinching. And after that, Klitschko couldn't clinch anymore. And he looked like he was going to have a panic attack in there. He was fumbling. He was reaching. His face was all stressed out. And I remember thinking, if the ref would have taken the point away from Davis, or a bunch of them said, hey, next time I'm disqualifying you, the fight could have been very, very different. Then again, we'll never know. But competent referees should have been in there applying the rules of boxing, or enforcing the rules, rather.
Never going to happen anymore unless, there's no skin in the game.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I agree with you.
I believe that they might run it back, because if he follows what Mayweather did, that blueprint of like, okay, he fought a close fight, then like Mayweather, like when he did that, he always took the rematch. And that kind of like makes them kill time, where they're going to avoid other guys like Lomachenko, because they have a legitimate excuse to say, okay, we'll fight him again. But, maybe they think they can win, so they'll do that, and they'll stay busy while avoiding other guys and making more money.
Good point.
Right?
That's a good point. Yep. That's a very good point. You can see that happening on that aspect. It kills time, keeps them away against other fighters that pose a big threat.
Well, didn't Tank Davis say, initially he said, hell no to the rematch, right? Then in the press conference, I think he alluded to maybe. And then now I think it's back to no. But who are they going to fight next? Who would you guys bet he's going to fight next if you had to?
I think he'll fight Pitbull Cruz again. Just give it some time, though, to develop.
But I'm talking right away.
Well, Depends
Right
if
away-
Catch the Predator dude gets hooked up. If depends on what happens in that case. If that gets thrown out, he could face Rolly. I mean, they're not going to put him. Put it this way: they're going to look to fucking match him even softer. And again, props to
telling you,
Cruz, but he was an unknown dude. And he's not.
I'll tell you right now, man. I think that Rolly kid could be a problem for him. I know his skill is shit. I get it. Kid is strong, bro. He's a strong dude, and he's awkward. He has this fucking awkward rhythm about him. He can land a big one on there, bro.
Yeah, but he's a retard.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to say that on VDA, but yeah.
Right. Thank
he
you, man.
deserves it, man. Don't be throwing flowers at fucking Rolly Romero.
No,
I'm talking Kermit the Frog.
Trust me. I think he's
Plus, he talks like Kermit the Frog, man.
But there's something.
That's how he talks.
I wouldn't be surprised if Davis beats him, like easy. You know what I'm saying? It could happen. But there's also there's a flip to that coin. What if he catches Davis with a big shot? Can Davis really handle it?
One time, some retard kid, he pushed me to the ground and he kicked me in the head. That motherfucker kicked me in the head, dude, and I was like, he got brazen. He landed, he got brazen, and all of a sudden he was like a badass. I couldn't believe it.
Man, I remember when I used to go to Catholic school on Saturdays. Well, not Catholic school, but what do they call it? Catechism or for the first communion?
Catechism.
Catechism, you're right. I don't know how you say it in English, but thank you, Jimmy. And I used to go there. There was a guy who had Down syndrome. I must have been 6 years old or something. This guy, to me, he looked like he was in his 30s. And you know how guys with Down syndrome are. They were like gorillas. And he was playing around with some dude standing on top of him on his chest, and it scared the crap out of me because I thought he was really crushing him. And ever since then, for a long time, I was afraid of guys with Down syndrome. Because you got to admit, they look stocky. I'm not making fun of the guys, but I'm saying he looked stocky and everything. So I don't know. There's something. I think most kids can recognize there's something off with this fella. Let me stay away from him, otherwise he could hurt me. That's the way I looked at it. But
I just want to know why fucking Gonzalo was throwing hands with a fucking rah-rah.
Yeah, what the fuck were you doing, Gonzalo?
What could you have done in your life that you had a retard throwing fucking soccer kicks at your dome?
I meant this guy got bullied all the time. He got bullied all the time, and I mentioned something stupid, then he just took it out on me. And they had just waxed the floor. They had just waxed the floor on the barracks. It was slippery as fuck.
Oh no, dude! Don't tell me it happened in front of chicks too.
Nah, it was in all men's barracks in the infantry.
Wait a minute. They let guys.
Yeah, he wasn't a full-on fucking zipper head if he was in the army.
The closest thing you can get. The closest thing you can get.
The closest thing you can get. Oh
all right,
no!
Well, then my story is still more scarier then, because the guy you were afraid of wasn't a full-out R word.
Man.
But I mean, listen. Hey, speaking of, no, I'm kidding. I was going to say, Rolly Romero. But you know what? I recognize you were talking about Rolly Romero. The thing that I'm hesitant for picking Romero against Davis is because I was watching Davis uncorking those counter left uppercuts, which missed by inches. Cruz was lucky and competent that he kept that chin tucked in and those hands up. Rolly Romero's wide open, man. Don't you think he gets hit eventually?
Oh yeah. That's why I would pick Tank to beat him. I want that fight to happen, because I think that there's more of a threat with a guy like Rolly because of his size and that awkward rhythm that he has. He's gonna try to knock out Tank Davis. Like that's gonna be the game plan. There's not gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna beat him for 12 rounds. I'm gonna outbox him. No, the game plan is gonna be, I'm gonna knock you out if you don't knock me out. So
right.
I think that's the reason why it could be dangerous for however long the fight lasts, if they were to fight.
It could be, man, but I don't want to hear all these people saying, this fighter doesn't fight this guy, doesn't fight that guy. And then they root or praise a guy like Davis. And then his last two opponents would have been 23-year-old Isaac Cruz, whose best win was Francisco Vargas. And he then take on Rolly Romero, whose best win was Ramirez. And a controversial win against Jackson Marinas at that. So,
Well, just imagine what would be said right now about Lomachenko if he went life and death with that fucking one-dimensional gnome.
Exactly.
Come on, he'd be fucking crucified.
That's right.
That's true.
And by the way, one hitter in the chat says a deaf guy punched me in the back of my head once because he thought I was ignoring him. Uncle Bert apostrophe says guns got haste. Uncle Bert
How the fuck would he know?
Yeah, well, I think that's the joke. No, I think Rapax says Gonzalo is blaming the wax floor for the loss. Yeah, that was. Come on, Gonzalo, you got to man up here, man. Come on.
He caught Gonzalo off guard. I could see that happening.
Well, didn't
It's true,
Gonzalo
man.
got knocked out by Spock, right? Remember, he got knocked out with a karate chop to the.
Who's that?
Yeah, I've had a few incidences like in the platoon. One time in the platoon lineup, some dude speared me too. He speared me and caught me by the legs and took me down in the middle. And then we just started fighting in the middle of platoon, like when you fall into ranks, shit like
Right.
that, man. And remember, I'm the guy that used to throw everybody into the trash can, like the new guys.
Right. Sound like
Gonzalo's hardcore, bro. Throw you in the fucking can.
Man, Gonzalo, why'd you get into a fight with the guy anyway?
The retard guy.
Well, first of all,
I think he just had enough, and like everybody was always bullying him, and I just happened to like mention something like a smart ass comment, and it was like the wrong place at the wrong time, and he reacted like he took all his anger out on me.
well, lucky for you, you weren't ever in the trenches with the guy. He might have thrown you to the enemies. Like, yeah, you can have him. Yeah, why not? I didn't see nothing. Don't see, don't hear. Anyway,
It
man.
don't take much for those guys in the military, man. Platoons, a lot of guys throw hands in there. They just guys together. Shit happens.
Yeah, it's
And,
like the
Gonzalo, was it just you? Like, happened to be the last guy, or were you one of the dudes who was roasting him all the time, and he finally snapped on you?
I wasn't one of those guys that was always roasting him, but what I said really ruffled his feathers, I guess. I said it in such a way that he really got angry. You know, when you say something wrong, something to somebody at the wrong time, and they could explode because what you said really got under their skin. Yeah, some people can do that, and in that instance, that was me that one time. So I even recognized, man, fuck, I'm not gonna fuck with this dude right now.
Yeah, I remember one time there was a guy getting bullied in high school, and all of a sudden, one guy was bullying him. All of a sudden, this guy grabs a dictionary and chucks it at the guy's head. Whack! I always remember the sound. It was just boom, and the bully was just, he got whiplash, and then he just sat down, smiling, like pretending it didn't, like hoping that nobody saw what happened. I said, man, I should have stolen that move. Dictionary, grab a dictionary and just throw it at somebody over the head, man. See how they react. You never know. Some people might fight back. Some people might say, you know what? I don't want to get hit by another dictionary again.
It's too much information in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the guy had a good vocabulary.
Man, real recognize real right. Like,
Exactly. Sometimes you gotta back down. Absolutely, man.
I don't want to fight a dictionary. They're too big, man. Fuck that. Let's go to. We got a phone call here. Let's go to hold on a second. 201. You're on the air. 201. What's on your mind?
It's Jersey.
Jersey.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. How you doing?
I'm from Jersey. You from Jersey?
Hey.
What's going on, buddy?
How you doing?
What's up, Jersey?
Well, what happened? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
What's going on, Jersey?
Yep. Yes, in the house.
So what's up, bro?
So, hey, what was the conversation about? I got lost a little bit. I'm sorry, guys.
Well, Gonzalo started talking about bullying people with mental deficiencies, but now we're back to wholesome stuff here, boxing. So whatever you want.
Boxing.
Yeah, boxing. We're talking boxing.
It's about Lomachenko, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, all right. So, like, it's about like the chances about Lomachenko getting back or like getting the belt. Like, what's up?
Well, what do you think? I mean,
coming up next.
Yeah, give us your
his
hot
fight.
take. Give us your hot take on Lomachenko Commey.
Well, if it's about the current fight, well, I don't think a lot of people got Commey, but he probably has a puncher's chance. Because at the end of the day, Lomachenko is like 34 years old, about to be 35, I think. Because these are Ukrainian or slash East European fighters. They come from the amateurs. Like a lot of fights, and
when they come to the pros, they're like 25 maybe.
Right.
So, we don't know how old Lomachenko is still, he probably still has something in the tank, but I still have Lomachenko, because he proved, he's proven, Commey only good victory was against Bertrand, I think it was.
Well, he's got, the Beltran Marinas lately. Those are his two big wins.
Yes. No, but, I got Lomachenko, but, overall, I think Lomachenko, he's on a mission. I think, he's trying to prove that he's the best of that division, I think he's just trying to climb because Commey was like the last IBF, so I think he's trying to snake his way through the IBF, to be honest, to get like a belt back or his belt back.
Yeah, maybe, man. I mean, look, listen. Lomachenko, he does seem to be that way, but he needs to make a statement today on Saturday, because it's wide open right now. The lightweight division, the last two guys didn't impress all that much. He has a chance to impress. He has to go in there.
I absolutely agree. No, I absolutely agree. The lightweight division is wide open because I don't think these guys are really I think they're more popular than good, to be honest with you. Like, I don't really think they're really that good, from like Devin Haney all the way down to Tank. Like, I don't really think they're really that good though. Like, I don't see none of them. And correct me if I'm wrong. Probably I'm just I'm gonna sound like I'm hating, but I don't see all of them going to late 20s, early 30s. Like, I don't see them having a long career.
That's the thing though. It's when you're getting drawish type performances.
So I think the most consistent fighter to me, the most focused, always being Lomachenko. Let's be honest. Cause
I agree.
He has he has underrated power. He's has skill. He's not unbeatable. But I think he has the most tricks. He's most sneaky. Has the more experience.
Yeah, but
you really need a great night to be Lomachenko.
He's got a bunch of that's why he tires people.
Him.
That's why he tires people out, man, because he just moves so much. But he's got to be healthy, and I want to touch on that later on. But hey, caller, we got to move on to another call here. But before we do, can you do me a favor? Can I ask you? Just say,
sure.
I'm gonna ask you a question, and say, yeah, a guitar. All right. So I'm gonna ask you a question. We just want to know what's in the case.
Yeah.
What do you mean? You forgot my guitar, man.
Yeah.
Oh!
You were supposed to say, yeah, my guitar. Oh, no. We're not gonna rewind it. No. We're not gonna rewind it, man. Fuck it. Look, caller, I like you, man, but it was a simple line, man.
Sorry.
It was a simple line. Yeah, my guitar. Now you put me in a bad mood, man.
Oh, my bad, man. Next time, man.
No, I'm kidding.
Sorry, man. Like Antonio Banderas, right?
Yeah.
The guitar.
Hey, but by the way, may I ask, where are you from, caller?
I'm actually Dominican, though.
Ah, there you go. Okay. Yeah,
Dominican.
You don't have the Dominican accent, though, because Dominicans, in my experience, say, hola, ¿cómo que tal? ¿Cómo la cosa? They're singing. You don't actually say Spanish.
It depends on where you're from in the art. It depends where you're from, in the DR, just Mexico, even here, you have people with a South accent, East accent, it's just stuff like that, Brooklyn accent. So it's different, brother, not for every town, but this region.
Well, very interesting, man. Again, I learned something new, man, because I always thought, because since the Dominican Republic is very small, I thought, well, everybody must talk the same, but I didn't know that there were pockets.
Yeah. No. Oh, man, my bad, man. I was like out of focus.
No, don't worry about it. I'm kidding around. I don't give a fuck about
this. This ain't conversation, but it's fine, man.
Don't worry. Like this ain't the Inside the Actor Studio. This ain't inside the Actor Studio. We're just playing around. But listen, always enjoy your calls. Call back next time, right, man?
All right, man. Thank you for having me again, man.
Thank you, man. Take it easy, man. And by the way, Jimmy, when you said you're from New Jersey, I'm from New Jersey. Were you referencing Men on Fire?
What's that? Well,
when you
said remember that? Yeah, I'm from Jersey. You from Jersey?
How did you come up with that line, man? Why do you remember that line?
I don't know. I just popped in my head for some reason.
Butch was always saying that line too. He goes, "You from New Jersey? I'm from New Jersey." Yeah, when the guy's so fucking scared out of his mind.
Guy buys some shades in Manhattan from a vendor, right? Like a street vendor. And he goes, "I like these glasses. What did you?" And the guy goes, "Yeah, it's imported." And the guy says, "From where?" "Jersey."
That's right, Jersey.
Well, Jersey was always the brunt of jokes from Saturday Night Live. They used to do skits back in the 70s and 80s because it was like Jersey was where they had all the fucking mills and it was all the pipe works and all the garbage spewing in the air. So remember the joke was, oh, sorry, brother. What's that?
No, go ahead. I'll tell you.
I was going to say the joke they used to always say, kiss a girl. They used to have T-shirts. Kiss a girl where it stinks. No, take it to New Jersey. There used to be a T-shirt back in the day. Yeah, kiss a girl where it stinks. Take it to New Jersey.
Well, even in the Sopranos, man.
Yeah.
The Jersey's turnpike, the highways, they're fucking dark as fuck, man. It's when it starts getting dark and you go through the highways, you go through the bridges. It's one of the darkest fucking highways you can take, man. It's really scary looking at night.
John Gonzalez told me that that's where he operates when he's in the East Coast.
Yeah, you could. I mean, because
he can hide in there, man.
Dark over there, man.
There was a YouTube video I just saw. You know, when you open up a fresh YouTube page and you're not signed on or anything, and random videos get recommended. There was one about some divers, YouTube divers, and they already found like 8 bodies or something. Since they've been diving. So I mean, geez, Louis, you wonder how many
saw that too. I saw that video too. That popped up on mine too. Yep.
I mean, that's insane.
They started off as a one thing, and then all of a sudden it become a business. They go and they dive and they look for bodies because a lot of police departments don't have the funds. Yep. And they grabbed 8 bodies. They found 8 bodies so far.
The boxer that they killed in the 90s from Brooklyn. Well, they killed him in Brooklyn. I don't know if you remember his name. He's the guy that beat John. He's the first guy to ever beat John Ruiz. Forget his name.
Oh, you talked about him. Yeah, some Russian dude or Eastern Europe. Yeah.
Yeah. So when they killed him, they killed him in a parking lot in Brooklyn. They shot him up. I think they beat him up, shot him up, stabbed him up, some crazy shit. Put him in a trunk, and then they took him into Jersey. Right, there's a bridge over there. I think it's the Pulaski Bridge, and they just dumped his body under there.
It's a good bridge, by the way. Man, that's insane. Remember, Stu always had a story about a guy. Was it Stu? Some dude in England who got jammed into a freezer. Like they killed him, and then they just stuffed his body in a freezer. And he was all, geez, Louis, what the fuck, man? I think he was.
Well, the Iceman he was known for that. There was a hitman who used to work, the Polish kid who used to work for Polish guy used to work for the Gambino crime family.
Right.
That's what he did to keep the cops off him. He'd murder you and then keep you in a full-size freezer for 6-7 months and then dispose your body somewhere. And then, if it's not still crystallized with ice, but when they find a body, it's like time of death is all thrown way off. Yeah, they called him the Iceman.
Richard
kept so many bodies at his house. Yeah, exactly, brother.
I remember the first time I saw that HBO special where they were.
That's where the Iceman was from. People think he's from. No, he's from Jersey, bro. That's where he's from.
Hey, he murdered somebody just to test his new theory of like blowing fucking what was it? A poison? He had a certain poison.
Yes.
In a powder form, and he walked by a guy and he blew it in his face. The dude had a heart attack right there. Sociopath, man. Just kill a stranger like that. Somebody's father. Just to see if your fucking sickness works. Cyanide. Yeah, he was doing cyanide. That became his thing. He started killing. He would invite people over for burgers and put cyanide tablets on with the onions.
But see, that's why a Jewish friend of mine told me that little trick. You expose yourself to small amounts of cyanide throughout your life. That way you become immune to it. So when somebody tries to get cyanide, whoops, sorry, you start dancing in front of them.
Well, if you smell bitter almonds, too. Cyanide smells like bitter almonds.
Well, that's good to know, man. We got a phone call here. Hold on a second. Let's go to 334. You're on the air. 334. What's on your mind? 334. What's on your mind?
Well, this old Pappy from the South. How's everybody doing out there?
Oh, shit.
Who? Oh, it's Pappy. What's up, Pappy?
Hi, Pappy.
This old Pappy from the South. I said, how's everybody doing out there?
Good, old Pappy. Yeah, how you doing, man? Good.
No, okay.
How's the moonshine, brother?
Yeah, how's the moonshine?
No, okay. When old Pappy asks you a question, you answer. Unless you want old Pappy to have his way with you.
No, we certainly don't want that, man. We certainly don't want that. But listen, we got a lot to get to here. Winding down for the most part, we still got a lot to get to. So, what's on your mind, man?
Well, what's on my mind is for you to open your ears and shut your mouth while I tell you what's what.
Well, you know what? usually I don't usually let people talk to me that way, but my parents always taught me always respect your elders. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna respect my elders over here.
That's right. You gotta respect your superior white elders.
Okay, well, nobody said. Wait a minute. Nobody said anything about superior or white. But anyway, listen, we got a lot to get to here, man. So just get right down to it, man. Lomachenko, Commey, if you want to talk about that, just go ahead.
All right. Hold your horses. I'm gonna get to my point. I'm gonna tell you something right now. I like Vasyl Lomachenko.
Mm-hmm.
That little Commey can fight, but I will say he has it in tough against Richard Commey.
Right, because he's a strong fighter. He hits hard, right? Commey. Or Commey, as you call him.
Not only that, my greasy Mexican friend, but also because I know how savage these African fighters can be. You see, after I fought in Korea, I was stationed in the Congo. And I saw how vicious these Africans are. They would go around fighting in the nude, whacking each other with machetes, and they would cook each other in big old pots filled with vegetables and spices ready for a feast.
Okay, now, well, first of all, that's the first time we've heard that you were stationed in the Congo after Korea. It seems to me like you're making your life up as you go along.
What was that?
Right, yeah. And second of all, Commey is Ghanaian. He's not from the Congo. And number three, everything you're saying sounds borderline racist. I got to tell you that.
Well, speaking of borderline, I'd say you're borderline retarded.
Oh, come on. Okay, what's with the R
Hey,
word
Poppy,
here?
hey, Poppy, there's your cousin in her underwear.
Oh, come on.
That's right.
Go get her.
What do you think about that?
No, all right, listen. We got to go, old Pappy. Thank you for your call, but at least let us know, is the fight going to be good between Loma and Commey? Is it going to at least tell us that?
Well, I think it's going to be a hell of a fight.
All right, there we go. I hung up on him. It's old Pappy.
It's always good to hear from old Pappy, man. It's always good.
I disagree, but yeah, whatever. I hope he doesn't call back next time. All right. So what else? I mean, geez, Luis, we talked about the fucking Commey fight, Lomachenko. It's gonna be a little bit hard to watch between fights, switch between fights. Showtime, the Zone, they have those.
Well, what the fuck? That was by accident. Yeah. So it's not gonna be that hard, man. I'm gonna be entertained.
Yeah, but the problem is we've got fights from Saudi Arabia and England. So I think over here in North America, they're going to be at about the same time. So hopefully they don't line up. Right.
We're going to have an over-under on how many times Chris Algieri goes down.
Oh, God.
I mean, that fucking dude, Pacquiao put him down, 5-6 times that fight? I mean, he goes down all the time, right? How many times did Brooke put him down before they called it?
Against Spence, he went down 3 times, I think.
Yeah,
that's right. Right? Yeah. The fucking dude goes down like a fucking crackhead on a 20-piece all the time.
But when's the last fight he fought, by the way? Let me check it out, man.
He's fought off network. He's fought off television, obviously, because nobody wants to watch Chris Algieri's fight.
Okay.
It's just,
wait a minute.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. It's just it is. They're looking for cheap opponents, man.
That's what it is.
They don't have to pay these guys half the shit. It's the reason why it's like the thing with Floyd. I mean, everything he says can be so easily debunked. He's the A side. He's the fucking most exciting. Yeah, then why are you fighting? See the difference between Canelo? You fight Canelo, one of these hand-picked guys. He picks anybody he wants, but he pays them life-altering money. They get $10 million to fight him. Fucking, you're paying these dudes you could burn through in a fucking one season with a good coke habit. Like you're paying $500,000 to do it. Seriously. It's like, so you're not paying anybody life-altering money because they're putting all the money into, that's why they have no money for opponents, because they're paying, actually not even paying Tank that much. You got a guaranteed $1 million for that. It's not superstar money because he's not putting up superstar numbers. That should tell you right there they're lying about his pay-per-views because they're not giving him a raise.
Mm-hmm. So. Now, Jimmy, what do you make of this story that's coming out now that Ugas is finally relenting here in front of the Alpha organizations, and him and Stanionis have agreed, apparently. They've reached some sort of agreement, so the purse bid is canceled. Do you think this is the end of the road for Ugas, or do you think he beats Stanionis?
I don't know, man. I really don't know. He's tricky. He's a fighter to me. If he's in his own head, he has a hard time. I mean, he's going to be confident because he beat Pacquiao, but let's all be honest, he beat a 42-year-old washed Pacquiao. How much will that go from confidence to too much hubris? I don't know. I know that he's a talented kid, but I mean, let's just be honest, he's not really the cream of the crop. I mean, you got young guys coming on. Even Boots Ennis over there, I think, would fucking work him. So, but they're not going to. That's it. You can all. I mean, look at how many guys they have over there. Nobody fights. You don't hear anybody calling out Boots. You know, but I wanted to say too, Lomachenko, the reason why he's doing these fights, it's not just to say, oh, look, and now I'm going to fight, everybody Lopez fought or this. He's strategically fighting. When you fight the guys who rank the highest, you get pumped up the fucking ranks to the mandatory status quicker. You know what I mean? If he goes out and chews up some 16 ranked guy, he's not going to jump up his mandate. You know what I mean? They're not going to put him in the mandate line up higher. But by doing that, now Bob goes to WBO. He's the only one doing it. He just fought this dude. Now he's fighting this guy. And that pushes him up. So, yeah, I really believe he wants more than anything to be undisputed. I think he wants all the belts at 135. Let's see if he does it.
Ugas, he's got a pretty good mixture of abilities. He doesn't hit the hardest, but he hits pretty hard. He's got a decent punch. He's not the fastest, but he's got good timing, and he's strong, as evidenced when he fought Sean Porter. So we'll have to see when he fights somebody that has like an A+ type of quality.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you know what's interesting? I rewatched that fight recently, the Ugas Pacquiao, and Ugas did land the heads, the more of the head snapping shots. He snapped Pacquiao's head back more often. But man, this just goes credit to Pacquiao, 42-year-old Pacquiao who hadn't fought at all in 2020. And he goes in there and he gives this guy the fight of his life. Well, maybe I'm exaggerating when I say fight of his life, but I think you guys understand what I mean in the sense that Ugas had to be redlining it. And even then, it's not that he completely schooled Pacquiao or anything. And his face, by the way, that's the other thing I noticed. I'm showing a picture here. And I only noticed this rewatching the fight. The guy has no eyebrows. Ugas. What's that about? Don't you want to have eyebrows as a boxer in case you get caught or something?
He's got alopecia.
Yeah. It's funny because I mentioned that, but nobody caught on that. Well, who cares? But I mean, now that you noticed it, it's like, wow, yeah, he doesn't have eyebrows, right?
He had some type of steroid reaction.
Well, is that called alopecia when they don't grow their hair?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, like when you start losing, I guess even when you start losing your hair, like on your face or whatever, like like your eyebrows, obviously. Maybe that's what that is. I have no idea, but yeah, I mean, look, he his best win is against a 42-year-old Pacquiao, where his fucking face got fucked up. I mean, he regardless if you thought he won or not. I mean, look at the fucking face. That's a sign of a lot of stress in a fight. You know.
Yeah, he has no eyebrows, and he looks kind of ashy. Like, remember 50 Cent when he was playing that role for that movie? I think I saw some pictures.
Oh, when he got real skinny. When he got real skinny. Like that. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's interesting because people in the chat are saying that he does have a apalachia or whatever well, not apalachia, but whatever.
Apalachia. He has apalachia.
I just thought he was Puerto Rican, and that's why he didn't have any eyebrows. But I mean, it's not a style thing.
Puerto Ricans have eyebrows, bro. They got the fucking thickest eyebrows you ever see.
Don't you? I mean, not you, but people style him, don't they? They pluck them or something.
I mean, it gets. I got like fucking thick ones too, man. Sometimes I get tempted. Like I should cut this shit. It's too fucking not like ridiculous thick, but they grow a lot, and you don't really want to mess with them because they start growing more.
I got a unibrow, so it all works fine for me, man.
Oh yeah, you got the unibrow.
I got the unibrow and I got the mopped up.
Do you shave the middle? Do you shave the middle?
No. God made me this way, and this is the way I'm gonna rock it, man. Why not?
Like that. What's that famous Mexican girl that was married to that painter?
Oh yeah, Frida.
Yeah, Frida Kahlo.
Yeah. But man, yeah, the Stanionis. I mean, look, hey, it's gonna be an interesting fight. Stanionis versus Ugas, and the thing though is Ugas is 35 years old. So he's no spring chicken himself either. He's Cuban, so he might be 40s for all we know.
All right, listen. All right, can I address that real quick, guys?
Please.
Just don't mean to jump on your BDA, but the age thing. Okay, these Cubans are sneaky motherfuckers. All right.
Oh.
Is it me? Okay, well, no, listen, be honest, right? He's 35, right?
Sure.
His daughter's of legal drinking age.
What?
He's 40, bro.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he's 40. He's 40.
His daughter's somebody was just talking about how he was out having drinks with his daughter who's now legal drinking age.
Which 21, right?
You know what she was 14? He was 14 when he got his girl pregnant?
Well, it could be.
Look, that's possible. That's possible. I mean,
or he was 18 and he's really 39.
The more likelihood is that he's 19 years older than his daughter.
Exactly.
Well, depending on the laws, because, like, for example, over here in the Philippines, I think you can get married at 12, or 12 is like the legal age for Filipino citizens. Of course, if you're a foreigner, that doesn't apply, but I don't know how it is in Cuba.
But yeah, so she's at least 21. But yeah, like, the thing is, they caught baseball teams, they do that, they come in because they don't bring your passports, and there's no way to prove it. And it just, when I found that out the other day, I'm like, there's another one. Come on. You're 35 and yet your daughter's 21? Please. Yeah. So again, yeah, I'm sure they all do it. I mean, it's just more credit to them. They can hide it. I mean, does anybody actually believe it? I mean, Ortiz, who's about to have another fight. I mean, does anybody believe for a second he's fucking 39 years old?
Did you see? I'm trying to look up the new photograph. There was a new photo that came out of Ortiz, and he looks like he got the conch. I remember that in the 40s when the black people would get the conch, they would put that thing to straighten their hair. That's what he looked like he had. But his hair was falling apart not that long ago, and all of a sudden he's got a nice thick full hair of conch in there. I gotta find that photo, man. Did you guys know what I'm talking about or not?
I saw that too.
Fuck.
I didn't see it, but I thought, no, I think I might have seen it. That his hair looks straighter or something. And I was just thinking to myself, yeah, those are like some type of hairpiece for sure.
Well, you were the one that famously said.
Well, this is my wife. My wife casually said, "Why is he wearing a hairpiece?" And I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" She's like, "Yeah, look, a piece of it fell off when he got punched." I was like, "Oh shit, she's right."
He must have the tape style then, right? I mean, they have like a toupee and his double-sided tape that they put on your dome, because I mean, you would think it would fly off every time he got hit. I mean, why not just shave that shit? You would you'd be cooler anyways. Hair holds the heat.
You know what it is? Things are getting crazy. Like Ortiz, he's a tough man, whatever age he is. But at the same time, he's worried about what his hair looks like in the ring. Like, who gives a fuck, bro? You're fighting.
He's having a midlife crisis, maybe.
Usually, back in the days, tough dudes, and I'm not saying they don't still do it. Obviously, they do. Like I could grow my hair. I just don't like to. Just shave the motherfucker off. That's it, man.
All right, I got the photograph here.
Hey. And what do you guys think about fucking Ryan Garcia after all the white lightweights fight? Now he's coming up on Lomachenko, and he's right after the fight tweeting out what he would do. I mean, yes, Tank didn't look good, but dude, you should shut your mouth, dude. You pulled out the last two fights. It's just so ridiculous, man. Like, how could you have that lack of self-awareness just to say, I probably shouldn't tweet? I'm the last person who should say anything. Crazy, right?
He's a clown. Sorry. It's like when you were saying BDA that when he went on a Mike Tyson podcast and was calling out Manny Pacquiao, and we know that never took place. So I lost a lot of respect for him then.
He's Oscar De La Hoya's son. Come on, man. Let's stop fucking. We were talking about that on my show last night. That he's Oscar's son.
When you say he's his son, are you talking about like biologically or?
Yeah. There's something happened there. Like he owes that kid something.
Well, you remember
Think about it. They're the same height. They throw big left hooks. You know, they got a little sugar in their tank. Like they kind of just like this calmed it. That if that's not his son, that's a hell of a coincidence. Just put it that way, right?
And the guy's really confident where he's always calling him out. Something that you would probably do to your dad, like, you know, come on.
Yeah,
Man.
exactly. Yeah, you're real confident the way he talks to him, you know, like a spoiled brat.
Yeah, very familiar.
In this case, it's like, well, you know, like it's you want to be in my life now, so you got to take my shit. You know what I'm saying? You got to take the stuff that I hurl at you.
You weren't there for me, Dad.
You wasn't there for me, Daddy.
Yeah, that fucking kid, man, he's got some serious issues, but I'm curious, though. I'm just curious to where this is. Now, listen, is any talk about Wilder, who he's supposed to fight? Somebody said that they were close to making Wallin, or I don't know if that's true.
Well, he
but
just
they're saying
came
that's
out.
going to have to be a pay-per-view.
He just came out, Jimmy, a couple of this, I think today or last day. He says he's not sure he wants to fight anymore. He feels he's accomplished. That? Yeah, he says he feels. Yeah, he says he feels he's accomplished.
Think about it, Jimmy. He made a lot of money. The guy made in his last, you know, you could just wrap it up to the last 3 fights with Fury, and you could throw some other paydays in there. He made maybe close to $100 million already.
Yeah, and then that all goes into. Remember how many times I said it? If he loses, don't be surprised if retired. And I said it won't even be so much if he wants to. It'll be a reason of finances. Now that he is actually, you know, he can say, you know, all spirited, I was there, you know, the way his fans say, but he's now lost really 3 fights in a row. You know, besides
he gave a good account of himself.
Yeah. But the payday, right, bro? What is it going to be? What can he honestly demand? He's said that he wants minimum of $20 million. Who's going to fucking pay that ziphead $20 million? Any pay-per-view that the PBC did on itself that relied on his name tanked like real bad. Lost $15 million, Wilder Ortiz, at least minimum. So, yeah, they probably told him, okay, you can fight, but you're looking at 2-5, maybe 3. And to him, he's like, nah, I'm just going to retire.
Well, I'm not going to take a pay cut. Once you start making $20 million or whatever, unless he blew his money. And to be honest with you, I never really heard about him, you know, spending a whole lot of money. And, you know, you never really heard anything about Wilder doing that. So he still, you know, has enough.
When he got this new girl, though, dude, I heard that he got a little goofy. He started buying a lot of expensive cars and clothing. And, yeah. So, again, when you start getting that big money. But the thing is, man, that's the last of it. Once you're done and you attain all these things, you got to pay taxes on all this shit you just bought every year. And next thing you know, man, don't take it wrong.
He gave so much of himself in that last fight. So I wonder if he could still bring that energy up. You know what I'm saying? Because look, he got his ass whipped, but you know, he fought like a fucking, you know, he was fighting like a fucking dude that he had to, you know, you have to kill him, obviously, right? So I don't know if he could do that again. You know?
Yeah, you only have so many of those fights. I mean, look at Jarrett Hurts, the guy that's the best example of a guy who, remember when he fought Trout, people were saying he's the first guy to stop Trout. Yeah, but he got his head wobbled back and forth. Okay, but he outlasted him. Then he more or less did the same thing against other opponents. But then finally against Julian Williams, it caught up to him. And it finally caught up to him against the guy he technically should have beaten in Luis Arias. So you can only take so many shots towards your career before it catches up to you. And you just start looking like a slowpoke in there. And with Wilder, he's no spring chicken. And he already took 2 big beatings from Fury. I mean, like you said, I reckon that's a lot to do.
Well, what's the knock on him?
This last fight, you know, he came in so determined that really that fight should have been stopped a couple of rounds, you know, before it actually got stopped, you know, when he got knocked out. And so this guy gave a lot of himself in that ring, you know, for that one fight, that it makes you wonder, you know, can he, you know, he's bleeding from his eardrum again. Okay, people forget about that. He was actually bleeding from the same eardrum. He, you know, it looked like that dent, whatever the fuck happened to his face, is never going to go away. So there's a lot of wear and tear in just those fights with Fury.
Yeah, and plus,
all right.
oh,
Go,
sorry,
Gonzalo.
Jim,
Go
I
after.
just-
No,
I was
go,
gonna
brother. I'll go
say-
after you.
I'm just gonna say, and plus, with all that money and the beatings he's taken, it probably doesn't even feel good to get back into the ring for sparring and preparation.
Yep.
Because it doesn't feel good getting hit by these big, massive heavyweights that punch that hard. It don't feel good. So that's one thing too. Also,
Well, this is really. I think this next fight with White is very telling because remember, going into that fight, what was Wilder's biggest knock was he's chinny. It just hasn't been. Nobody's been able to expose it yet. Nobody's been able to hit him clean in the jaw so much or whatever, right? Do we? Is Tyson Fury suddenly that big of a power puncher? Because remember, dude, he would go fight after fight after fight without even really buzzing people.
He
Never mind
committed.
knocking them out.
You know what it is, Jimmy?
Yeah, he did commit. No, absolutely. He got
more
bigger and he
to punch
committed
out.
to his punches. Of
Yeah.
course, dude. No,
Because
absolutely.
you know why, right? Because
But I'm
lost
curious if he
some-
does that to Wilder. If he does that to White, that's my only question. My only thing I was going to say.
Yeah, here's the thing. Well, yeah, of course, styles make match fights, and maybe he saw more of an opportunity to commit more to his punches because the lack of footwork that Wilder
possessed
kind of makes him an open, a stationary target. So, but also you remember he's working with Sugar Hill, who probably tells him, those days of you being athletic, really fast on your feet are not there anymore. You can still do it, but they're not there like it used to be. So you should start committing to your punches more. Gain weight, right? Get your 6'9". 270 shouldn't be no problem for you. 270 to 280, and commit more to your punches. And of course, yeah, you're gonna hit hard. Yeah, dude. Like I never understood what people don't understand. Look at his fist. Look when he boils up his fist, bro. Look at the
dinner plate.
Look at the fist to wrist ratio that he has. He has a big wrist already, and his hands like overshadow that. You know what I'm saying? That means he's got huge hands. He makes Wilder's hands look normal.
Well, I'm just curious if it's a combination of him doing what you said. It was a combination of Sugar Hill implementing that style.
Yep.
In combination with Wilder not taking a good punch, because say if he goes out and doesn't stop White, say if he fights White, doesn't stop him, or if he fights Usyk, doesn't stop him, then you say, okay, maybe because I think what's happened, a lot of Fury fans, like the real hardcore Fury fans, I mean, you ought to see them. They can be just as weird as the Wild. They're on there saying, he'd knock out fucking this guy, knock out Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Like, geez, you know what I mean? So it's like, oh, come on, pump the brakes, dude. He beat fucking Wilder. Let's see if it continues. Does Sugar Hill, did he really change him? Because again, like you said, dude, he's 6'9", 270 pounds. Even if he's not a natural big power puncher, just by sheer inertia and the fucking size alone gets behind it, it's going to put you out.
yeah, and also there's an urgency when he's fighting a power puncher that you don't want to stick around longer than you need. Like the first fight, where in the end of the day you're running out of ideas and you're chucking and jiving and you're just opening yourself up to get hit. Why, if you're that big, take care of business as soon as you can, and then you avoid getting tired and being exposed to getting hit hard. Because it's also a giant. If he gets hit back, the bigger you are, the harder you fall. But you can get him out of there soon. Do that. And the same thing you go for.
Here's another thing. I'm sorry, go ahead, Gonzalo. Finish your point. I'm sorry.
And the same thing could be said for the Dillian White. He's got a big left hook. You don't want to hang around longer than you need to.
Gonzalo, I'm telling you, after the first fight with Deontay Wilder, somebody got in his ear and said, "This is what happens when you fight heavyweights with a big punch, and you stick around too long. Okay, you're a big dude too. You need to be getting these guys out of here." And not worried about going to the scorecards, because look, you can say what you want. He beat the shit out of Wilder, and I agree. Wilder almost knocked his ass the fuck out. Okay, that fourth round, he almost knocked him out, and that's something that stays in his head. You can't fuck around and stick around with these guys long and thinking that you're just gonna beat them because you're a better boxer. You got to start.
Well, that's like you said, it's Sugar Hill, bro. without a doubt. Because remember, he had Ben Davison was trained him for that first Wilder fight and had him in that style. And it was Sugar Hill who said when he talked about it in an interview, he was like, "Why you're the bigger guy? Why are you doing that? Like, step back on your punches, load up on some."
Otto Wallin almost stopped him. He almost stopped him, bro. He cut him so bad. If the ref wanted to, he could have stopped the fight. Think about that for a second. You're 6'9". This shouldn't be happening to you.
What was the cut cause from? I didn't even see that fight.
No, it was a punch. It was
from a punch. Okay, so it would have went to the scorecards after 4 rounds.
No. If the referee stops the fight, it's a TKO win for Otto Wallin.
Oh! You said okay. It was a punch. All right.
Yeah,
no,
it was
not
a punch.
headbutt. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, no. That's why. Carry on. Yeah.
I always said like he almost lost that fight. He got fucked up a little bit in that fight. So he needs to be using his 6'9" body, put some weight on it, and use those fucking fists that God gave you.
Yeah, that's the thing though. It was when he fought Wallin, he started off trying to box him. Then after the cut, he had to press because, like I said, if he got stopped, he was gonna get stopped because TKO. And that's when he started. Once he started putting pressure on Wallin, I didn't think the fight was all that close.
No, it wasn't. You're right. He started beating up Wallin, but in the beginning, Wallin cut him, and he was giving him fits, and he was being dirty too. Remember, he was like rubbing the eye with his gloves.
Yeah, dirty Swedish fighter, man. What the heck? Hey, by the way,
and it happens throughout history, dude. Anytime there's a one-time boxer, because he was definitely known as a boxer, not as a puncher, and they discover their power. Even Lomachenko changed once he realized he could start putting people out. Like in everybody, I don't care who you are, everybody would rather knock somebody out than go the distance. Why not? You're out of there early, get paid earlier, and there's less damage you take. Plus, it's more exciting. Everybody loves it. Everybody, when they say, I'm not trying to knock anybody out, I'm just trying to do, bullshit. Of course you're trying to knock them out, man. Everybody's trying to knock you out.
In baseball, everybody wants to hit a home run. In boxing, everybody wants to knock out. They just can't do it all the time. You know what I'm saying? They just can't do it.
And it's actually very weird that you made that comparison because it's so similar on two fronts. If you try to hit a home run, you're going to fucking pop out. You're going to strike out. But if you just swing the bat right and do your mechanics properly, you get the sweet part of the bat, and if you have any natural power, it's going to go. Same thing with boxing. Don't overload like what Tio does, because when you overload, it adds that extra split second. And to what BDA said earlier, I actually made a note here. When you said fucking Davis kept barely missing that uppercut, and why is that? That's those little things you get when you fight often. That's a big thing of ring rust.
You read my mind, Jimmy, there, because when you throw a counter uppercut, I just think that it's harder to catch the target than like a straight right hand. And for him fighting off the back foot and trying to strike the other guy, kick, like I mentioned, Mayweather like a cobra, he goes back on the back foot, but as soon as you start coming to him, he goes forward and bam, he strikes you. But lining up a guy by sticking your arm like a flagpole to measure, then that's the way you're supposed to do it. Then you punch to your hand, towards your hand that you're aiming to, find your hand and therefore hit the target. But as a counter shot and one shot at a time, no, that's not going to work. But
and that was Mayweather's thing. That was the way Mayweather would set traps, because what he would do, he was good at distance. He was excellent at distance. He would start going backwards, and he would already have the steps in his head. 1, 2, and he would know on what foot he's going to plant his foot. You know what I mean? So he would even do things like, as he's going back, slow down just a little bit, each step back, so you're gaining a little bit distance to him without realizing you are, and then he'll suddenly stop, and then boom, throw the shot, and you literally walk into it. That's like one of his famous things. That's why I hear you keep bringing it up. He was excellent at that. Mayweather was always really good at that, walking people into punches.
Yeah, that's why he could probably bamboozle you, and he could hit hard. Like, I don't know, they asked De La Hoya who hits harder, Pacquiao or Mayweather, and that was that factor because of that one punch that you just mentioned.
Yeah, Mayweather hit hard, man. It's like Jimmy says, the punch you don't see coming is the one that hurts you, and that's the thing with Mayweather. It's like, a lot of these guys, they didn't see the punch coming because he was so quick and so good at setting it up.
That's one of the hardest punches to hit. I used to try that. I used to try to get good at that, walking people in on punches. It's just wasn't my thing. But yeah, no, he was real good at that. Disguising it as like retreat. Next, you know, he's just walking you right into a shot, and you don't see coming, like you said. And make no mistake, Pretty Boy could crack, and he tried to hurt people back then. Totally different fighter than what he became at the end.
It's like a cobra. It comes forward, and you only see the head. You don't see the body, but it's coming at you straight. I don't know. The uppercut, it's a great punch that you can disguise it, and you can hit somebody where they've not seen it. But if you're throwing it as like a lead, well, you're extending your arm, your jab hand, but you're throwing the counter as the punch that you want to make count. From afar, it's like Navarrete. He throws that, he lands that. But as a single shot, compared to like a straight right hand, I don't know, man. And that's the way he was fighting. He's not going to get away with that against the top guys.
Yeah.
And you say Cobra, dude, that's what Cobras literally do. They stare. That's why they come up high. They bring their body up off the ground, and they stare at whatever they're looking at. So you're staring it in the eyes, and when you're doing that, you don't realize the coil underneath is recoiling and getting itself in a position to spring at you. That's why it's actually a good analogy. You keep saying that, because that's exactly what he's doing. He's setting himself up to spring.
Yeah, and you know what? To land a counter uppercut, that would look beautiful. And I think there's been fighters in the past that have done that. And this like a highlight reel, some of the greatest knockouts of all time. But there not so many like that. And it's like you're almost indicating to the opponent. That's why Isaac Cruz was reading that, because he knew that he was getting ready to throw uppercut by extending your arm. Oh man, you're trying to line me up for a fucking uppercut. What would Isaac Cruz do? He would stay still, and once he knew that Tank Davis was actually throwing the actual punch, he started moving his waist on the swivel, and then he kept that Canelo guard. And when he threw that uppercut in the 5th round, that's when he hurt his hand, because it's pretty easy to read as compared to. He should have just fought in a different style, in my opinion.
Yeah, he should have, man.
When he was coming forward, excuse me. When Isaac Cruz was coming forward in that peekaboo style. So when he's got his gloves up like that and you're thinking, okay, he's not looking at his eyes. When he's coming forward and he knows what punch he's trying to take him out with the uppercut, he's looking at his waist. And the waist was always the tell on an uppercut. Because you know what I'm saying? You always dip just slightly to the, you know what I'm saying? You dip slightly to the side on that, you're going to fucking throw. And he could see it. He just telegraphed it by that slight dip. You could see all of a sudden Cruz would stop moving. And that's why he constantly just kept missing.
That's why also the one, Josh Taylor, when he dropped Ramirez the second time, remember they were off a clinch and Kenny Bayless was going to go in, then he stepped out, and so there was a little confusion there. But if you watch... Hello? Shit. Am I still on? Yeah, okay, sorry about the fella's Discord shut off. I was going to say when... Well, actually, what am I going to... I'm going to tell these guys when they're back here. Sorry about that. The Discord shut down, as you can see. So I got to reconnect here.
The fact that you have heavy hands and you're not food, man.
Yeah, Josh Taylor would fucking dog walk him.
That's what I was arguing with someone yesterday. I'm like, yeah, man. I'm like, dude, you're delusional. You're not looking at reality. What in your mind that you've seen from Tank thinks that he has the skills to make up for a size difference against
melanin
fighter like Josh Taylor. Yeah.
I mean, think about it. The guy, he struggled against Cruz, and nobody can tell me he didn't struggle against Cruz. I mean, he struggled. The fact that he had to clinch a lot is indicative of that, and the fact that he was getting hit with clean shots almost every round. And here's the other thing: when he fought Barrios at 140. That's another fight where he wasn't letting his hands go. Yeah, he was moving well, and Barrios wasn't landing either that much on Davis. But it was a very negative fight. It was Davis not willing to engage and just trying to run Barrios into something. And even then, I mean, what happened? Mayweather had to go into the corner and tell him, look, it's a very close fight, or even you're losing the fight. You got to step it up. So is he going to step it up against Josh Taylor? Is he going to step it up against Ramirez? Those guys are going to go after him. Yeah, they're going to go. They're not going to be. I mean, Ramirez. If you rewatch the Josh Taylor fight, he was going after Josh even after he got dropped. He said, "Screw this." He dusted himself off and started going after Josh Taylor. He didn't clinch. He didn't run. He wanted to fight, man. So I don't know if
I can't tell people how much like they don't understand when when Tank is fighting, Tank is pretty much in control mentally because these guys are not expected to beat him, and you can see it in the ring. It's another thing when another guy he has just as much energy in you, and the boxing world expects him to beat you, and he's coming in there with a game plan to beat you. He's like, I got a scenario to beat your ass tonight. And he starts implementing that because in a fight, it's ebb and flows. And you are not prepared for that. He's not. Like, these dudes need to stop with this love out of fate, I think, because it's not out of actually something that you proved. Because show me the fight where he was in a 50-50 fight. And
tribalism, dude.
Yeah, so it's based off this false this false idea that you have of a guy. He will get fucked up, bro. Like,
but you know what? Also recognize. Don't forget, man. Whenever somebody says something like, "Oh, I think this," and they say like, "No, this guy can beat this guy," and you know, and they say with so much confidence, they go break it down. Just break it down.
Break it down. How does he beat this 5'11" frame that could that could put on massive weight?
Dude, he'll catch him, dude. He'll come in. He's got fucking catch him, dude. Yeah. That's kind of shit that I would get. You know what I mean? Like, okay, how would he do that?
How would he catch him?
Would he do a counter puncher? Would he be a 5'4" fucking counter puncher against a 5'11" kid who punches? You can throw straight punches and is talented. Come on.
Well, I would give Tank Davis a chance if he would fight the way that he's supposed to. He's got a tough chin, apparently. He hits hard with both hands, and he's pretty explosive. But you're not fighting the way God gave you these abilities to do. You're changing it up. You're trying to redefine what you're not born with. It's like some fighters, how they would wish to have the talent and the God-given not dimensions, but what God gave them. But, you know, he's not fighting the way he's supposed to, man.
The way I see it is like saying Sean Bay Mitchell can go up and beat Tito Trinidad, and Sean Bay Mitchell being Tank, and Trinidad being Josh Taylor. Obviously, Trinidad's better, but I'm talking about the size difference. It's the size difference and what they could do in the ring. It's like, dude, I mean, you must be related to Sean Bay Mitchell if you think he can go up and weight and beat a guy like Felix Trinidad. That's how I view Tank. Tank doesn't have the skills to make up for a height difference like that and a weight difference. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but you got to show me where you know what fight that gave you the implication he can beat a guy like that. And please don't tell me Barrios. I mean, come on, man.
To quote Herb Brooks, the 1980 U.S. Olympic coach for the hockey team, he was known for these quips. He would always bark at the guys during practice, and he would yell at him when he was mad. You don't have this skill to win by skill alone. And I think of that with fucking Tank. He doesn't get the skill to win on skill alone. He has to make it a dogfight. And did anybody see any indicator that this kid wanted to be in a dogfight? And don't give me the hand thing. It wasn't even broken. He got a stinger. So, but he also had his right hand, which is supposed to be his power punch hand. And I saw that kid cruise at the end of the night. Wasn't even no marks on his face. So I don't even think he's carrying his weight that good. But all right, go, brother.
I was just gonna say, I think he does have the skill, but he comes in a certain package. Yeah, God gave you these things, but you come in this certain package, and that package is not made to fight in a different style than the style you're supposed to. It's like custom model telling Mike Tyson, do this. Well, he had a special game plan for him because he saw him. He was like a little icebox. If you want to do this, you got to put two punches together at one time. When you hit the bag, they got to come together where they sound like one. You got to bend your knees and you spring up and throw like these 3-punch combinations in 1 second, you know, and swivel and move at the waist like this. And you got to get in and you got to do this, because if you don't do that, you're not going to have success, because, yeah, you're special, but you're too small fighting bigger guys. So if you try to change it where he's fighting in a different way, guess what's going to happen to Mike Tyson? But looking into Tank Davis, this is the game plan that they should follow. But they're basically trying to reinvent the wheel. And that's why he's fooled, because he is not fitted to fight at that style, especially if he moves up against elite fighters.
See, what's going to happen is when he starts getting caught by bigger guys that are coming in there to win, you know, they got a game plan of how to beat this dude who his head movement's okay, but it's not great. He's still there to be hit. So if he tries to bend low and get smaller, he's still there for the uppercut, right? And that has to do with the way, you know, his footwork coming into range. What's going to happen is he's going to feel the power. It's going to take everything. You see, usually when you feel power, if you're a really multi-talented fighter that can do several things, then you start doing other things, right? You start doing other stuff. He's not that guy. I've never seen that in him. It's either he bombs you, you know, he knocks you out, he overwhelms you, you know, you don't hit hard enough to stop him from fucking setting you up for a big shot, or you get the cruise fight. And against a bigger guy, that might be more dangerous for him. Because the bigger, you see, Cruz is not overwhelmingly stronger than Tank, right? He's not. So it's still a good fight where he could defend himself. Against a guy that's stronger than you, bigger than you, well, when you stop trying to knock him out and you're the littler guy, what is the big guy thinking automatically? I got you, right? You just stop trying to knock me out. I got you now.
And that's what he did against Pedraza. He would go toe-to-toe with him, and it was a few exchanges, and he got the better of him. The thing is, the reason why I like Tank, the name is thick-ass neck and his wide wrists. He's probably stronger. I would guarantee if they worked out together, I bet you he would bench more, squat more than Josh Taylor because of the wrist joints and his body style, just his mesomorph, and, you know, Taylor's more ectomorph, so he's probably naturally got stronger tendons and stuff. But at some point, it's just, and then you're dealing with the length and everything else. But in order to win, he has to be willing to get in there and exchange with people. And there's nothing I saw the other day. Did he look like he was hungry for any of those exchanges? He was the one always backing out of them. Right?
It's like that. What Mayweather says, hit and not get hit. But sometimes getting hit, you don't have a choice. Especially if you're built like Tank. Yeah, you can go in there, move your waist, and have good defense. But you're telling me you're going to hit and not get hit when you're only 5'4", facing fighters that are 5'11"? Really? Where did you learn that? Who's teaching you that?
It's not realistic, you know, and it to me is more wishful thinking than anything else. Listen, I guarantee you, if his next fight was... It's even stupid saying it. If his next fight is Josh Taylor, he gets stopped. That's it. If not, I'll be shocked as hell. Josh Taylor comes in. He's like, you're fighting me in the UK. He beats the dog shit out of him. Not beats him. He fucks his world up. He beats him in a way that Tank is not the same anymore. Basically,
maybe, man, but
I think you would see a towel thrown in.
Yeah, it's not a realistic fight to have. It's not.
Yeah,
that strikes me as arrogant. Sorry, BD.
He should stick to 130, 135, right? I mean, all these talk.
Yeah, 135. Stick to 135. I think he has a shot against those guys, bro.
It was the same. It was the same thing with other fighters. You know, that they're having some success, one good win or two good wins, and all of a sudden, hey, move up. Why? He still has a lot of things to get through. A 135 that he might not get through. You know, he might not get through Devin Haney. He might not get through Lomachenko if he does fight Cambosa. So all this talk is a little premature. By the way, give a shout out to It Was All a Dream via the super chat. He says, please do more second Renaissance vids. I'll increase my Patreon sub if you do. Hashtag
working on that,
yeah, man. It takes time because we got to compile all, you know, what we're going to talk about. We can't just turn it on and start talking. Shout out to Texas Bulldog Boxing for his contribution to Super Chat. He says, if I see Loma as a heavy underdog, I'm taking that bet. All right. Texas Bulldog is getting his, dipping his hand into the gambling world. And there was somebody else here. Hold on a second. Norman
I'm not
Luis, shout out to
mistaken. I
Norman.
think he was a 4-1 favorite. Loma.
Okay. And shout out to Norman Luis for his contribution to Super Jazz. That's a great analogy. I think you guys were talking. I think he's referring to an analogy. So one of you guys threw. I think it was either Gonzalo or the Gymster. But yeah, shout out to everybody who contributed, man, with the super chat. Really appreciate it, fellas.
Yeah, BDA threw some good ones in there too.
I don't know.
Could have been any of us, man. I say we take it as a team.
That's right. There you go. The way he said it.
I want my
BDA.
glory. I want my glory.
And one more thing, like remember, okay, I'm not saying that it's always going to be like that, but like just comparing boxers, Mike Tyson had the greatest success when he was younger and when he was more fit. When he got older and wasn't as fit, he lost what he had in terms of him making the best of for the size that he was. And Tank comes in that package, but if he loses a little bit of like, you know, being in shape and starts getting older, that's not even going to pan out well for the style that he was meant to fight. Imagine trying to fight in a whole different style, and that's not meant for you. And what strikes me as arrogant, I don't know if the saying applies, but you know what when they say you can't have your cake and eat it too. They're trying to tell you, oh, yeah, safety first. He fights the way he does, but then you're supposed to buy the pay-per-view. And it strikes me as arrogant and as people that are delusional and they're like full of like power, like money, like Mayweather, that, you know, it's like they're not going to take what other people say. You just have to do you just have to take what I tell you and accept it.
Exactly. I mean, it's sorry, Bubba, but that ain't gonna happen. I got. You know, we all got expenses here. We're not all making $500,000 to millions of dollars a year. So if there's a fight that doesn't really tickle our fancy and it's on pay-per-view, guess what? We're not gonna watch it. And unfortunately, there's people out there that are gonna, you know, they're gonna pirate it. So better make sure it's as good as it can be, and don't patronize the fans. For Pete's sakes, I mean, this guy, like we talked about earlier,
Customer is always right. The customer is always right. You got to remember that.
Yeah, but he's never worked in that type of industry. He doesn't know, and he doesn't care. But it's gonna bite him in the ass when it comes to business. I can tell you that much right now. All right, well, listen, fellas. I think we're gonna wrap it up here. But we will be back sometime later. I gotta compile videos or something for Second Renaissance. Something that's gonna be interesting to watch and hear and make fun of. Because I don't want to. I've been reading the news, man. It's fucking depressing lately. And by the way, they're not covering that much. Everyone's talking about the Jussie Smollett trial. What about the Ghislaine Maxwell trial? How come it's not
they're
open to the
burying
public?
that, dude. They're not trying to put any fucking they're burying that just like they're burying Smollett.
Those two stories they want to go away.
Yeah.
Yet they keep talking about January 6th. Did you hear the Justice Department, just on a note on that, came out, not one person is going to be charged with insurrection? So the thing that they labeled the insurrection, nobody's being charged with that. So it's all narratives, my brother.
You fucking little snowflakes. You got scammed, bro. You're easy to...
Russian collusion. Remember, for 2 years, Russian collusion.
Dude, they don't even need you anymore. They're starting to round you up and shoot you in your head, like we told you it was going to happen.
Well, I mean,
they don't even need you guys no more. They threw Cuomo under the bus. Now they threw his little brother under the bus.
Dude, think about that was Zucker.
Real quick. They're going after the biracial homo there. They're going after him too.
Oh yeah, Don Lemon's getting it too. Yeah. Don Lemon. It's about time that freak.
They're going to take Zucker out now, the owner or the guy in charge.
Hey, listen, you guys got you. Like they say, man, line them up. You fucking lie, you got to die too. Bye. Nobody cares.
A year ago this month, he was the most popular Democrat, but all it took was one thing. They shoot their own. The left is a fucking. And then Zucker. Listen, Zucker had aspirations for politics. The only reason he kept Como around, that big fucking dumbbell pressing meathead, is because his brother had the connection to the governor.
Right.
Once the governor was gone, he was gone. But now he's coming out with a book. Did you hear he's suing for $16 million? Because he says that's what he's owed. Yeah, he's owed on his. He gets $6 million a year. Can you believe that? To spread lies. But anyway, so the remaining of his contract, he's owed $16 million. Jeff Zucker's, well, CNN said he's not getting a dime because he broached, whatever. And he said, "Oh yeah, well, I got the tapes." Basically, he's got all the messages that proves Zucker knew about everything he was just fired for from day one.
Of
So yeah, the
course, he
whole
must have,
CNN's
right?
about to get blown up.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for. What are people gonna watch now? MSNBC. They still got options.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same shit, right? I mean,
Right, what I
to
was
me,
saying,
like,
yeah.
to me, all of them are the same. Like, look, the left right paradigm is a fucking joke. I mean, it's just a joke if you believe in that stuff. It's just that the far left, and that's what they are. They're just far leftists. They're so cringe that I can't blame people for falling for the fucking conservative movement, right? Like, I can't blame people for saying, well, this is better than what's over there. But yeah, enjoy the show, bro. They're gonna start killing each other off like we said they will.
Yep.
On Minecraft,
Exactly.
you mean? On the
They
GTA
always
5,
they always need a victim, and they always need an oppressor. They always have to target somebody. The whole party's just set on rage.
They don't trust each other. How
All right,
can
well, listen,
you trust
fellas.
each other when everything's built on lies? You know?
We gotta go.
Yeah, we're gonna keep talking all night.
Yeah, we gotta go, man.
That's right.
But
All
listen,
right,
fellas,
gentlemen, you guys have a great evening.
you too, man. Thank you for being on. Was that Gonzalo?
Sorry, BD. Jimmy, recognize everybody. There's if you guys got Netflix, there's this documentary that came out. It's called The Phantom, about some dude that got executed in Texas, Corpus Christi. It's a really good documentary. It's like, I don't know, like an hour and a half long. It's pretty good. It's real story.
I'll try to check it. The Phantom. That sounds like a superhero movie. All right, but I'll check it out, man.
That's what I used to do. I used to work down at Huntsville. That was my job. I used to pull a switch. I get $50 extra every time I pop the switch, man. It was all right.
Serious? No, he's kidding around. I thought he was serious for a second.
Yeah, I'm just fucking around. Yeah, I know, just fucking around.
I fell into
You're like that dude from the Green Mile, Jimmy.
Yeah, exactly. You have to press, you have to go through the walkthrough. Oh, what a creepy job that would be. Fuck that.
Yeah, man, what the fuck? Texas and other states. Well, listen, fellas, thank you for joining us. Huntsville. Really appreciate you being on, everybody. Chief was here. Bucho was here. Recognize the Matrix. Jimmy, Gonzalo. Thank you for being on. Everybody that contributed to the super chat, really appreciate it. Everybody that called in. Everybody that was in the chat. Shout out to Parukua, Reverend Pickles, Liam Live, Johnny Blaze, Texas Bulldog, Honker Mustang, Wise Guy. Who else was here? Super Anderson Aldo was here. Steven Schneider, Honker Mustang, I said. One Hitter, Heretic, Norman Luis. Thank you guys for joining us. You know who you are. I gotta go, but thank you for joining us. Catch you in the next one, fellas.